like never before in 360 degrees of full surround sound. Get ready to hear the big picture, because the only way to experience the full impact of HD is with NBC Sports and Sony HD Audio. Hi, everybody. Bill Weber along with Wally Donoback and Penny Parsons. Thanks for having us in for the race, one of the most exciting races of the year. 43 drivers trying to go 500 miles, hoping they get the big finish, not the big wreck. And Wally, the big one can start in a variety of fashions.
And probably will. But I'll tell you, walking around the garage here this morning, I really noticed that these guys are beefing up their race cars. There's something called bump drafting, and I think they're going to be slamming more today. We'll have to keep an eye on it. And what you do is you get a line, you follow the guy, you hit him in the bumper, and that helps get him down the racetrack. The problem is if you're not lined up perfect, you can get into a wreck like this. These guys are really going to be aggressive on the bump drafting. And this is probably going to happen, but BP on the racetrack, that's not the only place that you have to dodge bullets.
It's amazing how much trouble these guys will have getting off and on pit road and while they're on pit road. You know, they're running 190 miles per hour for about 75 miles. Then they've got to slow down to 55 miles per hour to pit road. And what happens is they lock up the brakes. They put flat spots on the tires. Now, if they had decided they're going to change 2 tires, guess what? They flat spot the tire. Now they've got to change 4. And once they make the pit stop, they let the clutch out. They've got to be careful to do that smoothly enough they don't break the drivetrain. And when they leave pit road, they've got to get back on the racetrack as quick as they can to join that big group. If they don't, they're going to get left.
Because they run restrictor plates here, these cars basically run at half the horsepower. That keeps everybody in the same speed. They run around here in one big pack. Let's show you what that looks like. Here's our Home Depot virtual garage, BP. It's all about the draft.
Cars running together because those front cars break the air. The cars behind, they run in that void. And they can run that much faster. And as Wally pointed out, the more cars, the faster you go. And we'll see the cars side by side, nose to tail, 2, 3 wide, all the way throughout the field. You have to draft. It's about 1.5 seconds per lap, or 4 or 5 miles per hour, faster than running by yourself.
And if you get left out of the draft, you're going to have big problems. We saw some guys here opt not to participate in final practice yesterday. Some of these guys will try and find their teammates on the track, but that doesn't always work.
It doesn't always work, and that's the thing. You have to have somebody to work for here at this racetrack. You have to have partners, and you'll hear the term hanging out to dry. You don't want to be in line and all of a sudden go with somebody. They get back in line, and then you're the only guy sticking out there, and that's going to be bad because, like BP says, that's going to be 5 miles per hour slower than the rest of the pack.
It's all about having friends at Talladega. You guys want to be friends?
Yeah, for now.
Okay. Let's go trackside and get the words you've all been waiting to hear.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gerald D. Bantam, Vice President and Director, UAW National Ford Department, as he gives the most famous words in motorsports. Gentlemen, start your engines!
Your team right out of the race. 43 drivers ready to play ball at Talladega, hoping this one is a no-hitter. The green flag from Talladega is next on NBC.
Cool.
What's the coolest way for people on the move to pay for gas and convenience items? Speed Pass.
Cool. Really cool.
How do we know? We're drivers too. Link Speed Pass to a credit or check card you already use, and you can make one of the cool moves Ryan Newman does.
This week's Nextel Fan of the Week, presented by Sprint, is Renee Hale from Rome, Georgia, and the Hale family is a racing family. Father Casey races, son Zach races. Renee, she's the crew chief for everybody. So how did all this start, Renee?
Well, I've always been a NASCAR fan, and this was just something the family could do together, and I just kind of stepped in and done my part.
And now I see this Jeremy Mayfield car designed exactly like his race car. How did you become a Jeremy Mayfield fan?
Well, I've been following Jeremy since he was in the RCA car, so I don't know. This is my way of showing my support.
And you won't let Casey drive anything else, will you?
No, he's got to drive this car.
All right, if you want to be the NASCAR Nextel Fan of the Week, log on to NASCAR.com/Nextel.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Series racing from Talladega is brought to you by Ford F-150. Built Ford tough. By Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Call 1-800-RENT-A-CAR. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up. By Bank of America. Higher standards. And by Miller. There's good enough and there's better than it has to be. Miller, good call.
Throughout the race today, the story really isn't when the big one happens. The story should be how many times it does not happen. So many cars, so little margin of error. Today in Wally's World, driven by State Farm, how to avoid having a small part in the big wreck.
Well, welcome to Talladega. Now, all week coming up to Talladega, everybody's talking about the big wreck. Because this race is the wild card. You never know what's going to happen, and as a driver, you're hoping one of your buddies doesn't do something dumb. Now, let me tell you how a driver approaches this race and how a driver can avoid the big one. The best plan is, if you have a good race car, sometimes you don't want to show your hand. But at this place, you have to. You want to get out to the front and let the wreck happen behind you. The next plan is, if you're starting near the back or even in the middle, sometimes it's best to drop to the back of the pack and let the wreck happen out in front of you. This way, if you're riding out in the back with your buddies and the wreck happens, you can slow down and you cannot get caught in it. Now, the first race at Daytona in 04, my team owner and teammate, Joe Nemechek, we were in the driver's meeting. We were talking about maybe hanging out with the guys that were going to stop back to the back of the pack and let the wreck happen, and we'll be able to slow down ahead of time. But right before the race started, Joe came up and said, you know what? We got really fast race cars. Let's get to the front and let the wreck happen behind us. Well, we were on our way, and look what happened. Oh, that didn't work out so well. If you're in a wreck here at Talladega, as a driver, you're reacting on what's happening through the windshield. But 9 times out of 10, you're just along for the ride.
How was that ride?
It hurt.
Were you sore the next day after that?
Yeah, actually, not as bad as I thought it was, but boy, when I saw that wall coming, it was like, this is going to hurt.
Cars out on the track here at Talladega. Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, is the proud sponsor of the Budweiser Pole Award, given to the fastest qualifier at each NASCAR and Nextel Cup Series race. And Budweiser congratulates Elliott Sadler on his 3rd pole of 2005. Take a look at the starting grid presented by Harley-Davidson for today's 500-mile race at Talladega. Elliott Sadler on the pole next to his teammate Dale Jarrett.
Back in row 2 on the inside, Ryan Newman. On the outside, Tony Stewart.
Row 3, Bobby Labonte and Joe Nemechek.
Row 4, Scott Riggs and Greg Biffle, one of the contenders in the chase for the championship.
Row 5 on the inside, last week's winner at Dover, Jimmy Johnson. Carl Edwards on the outside.
Matt Kenseth and Jeff Gordon, 2 strong cars at this race in row 6.
Row 7, Kyle Busch, second a week ago, and Jamie McMurray, who the guys in the garage think is a threat today.
On the inside of row 8, another Penske car, Travis Quaffle, Sterling Marlin for Chip Ganassi on the outside.
Row 9, Martin Truex Jr. in the Bass Pro car, and Jeff Burton alongside.
Row 10, J.J. Yaley and 5-time Talladega winner Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Inside of row 11, Kurt Busch needs to get something going. This would be a great place for a good finish for Robbie Gordon on the outside.
Row 12, Mike Bliss and Mark Martin.
Row 13, you'll find Michael Waltrip and Casey Mears. Both those cars will have to drop to the rear of the field for work on their transmission.
Row 14 on the inside, Brian Vickers. Casey Kane for Ray Evernham on the outside.
Ricky Rudd and Dave Blaney share row 15.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. on the inside of 16. Jeremy Mayfield on the outside.
And as you look at the rest of the starting grid, 43 cars going 500 miles. Michael Waltrip is one of them. Let's see if Wally can get him on the radio.
Hey, Michael, this is Wally in the booth. Can you hear me?
Yes, Wally. How are you?
Pretty good. Man, your car looked awfully good yesterday in practice. And, you know, you qualified well, but have to drop back with the transmission change. How do you play it now?
Well, I'm just going to observe probably for a few laps, Wally. They're going to be 4 or 5 wide even, and there's just no sense in me trying to get from last up through that while it's like that. I think my car's strong enough to when once they string out a little bit, I'll be able to get some help and get up through there. So watch for the Napa Chevy and the guys back here to just chill out for a few laps.
So you'll just let things settle down. Will you stay back there, you think, through the first pit stop, or will you just let it settle and then pick your way through?
I think I'll be up through there by the time the first pit stop happens, I hope. And again, it has to all develop, Wally. You got to see what happens and follow along and then to make your plan off that. One thing's for sure, though, I'm not nervous because I'm starting last, and I got the old Aaron's Dream Machine right in front of me. Not a whole lot to worry about back here right now. Check in later. The pulse might go up a little.
Okay, good luck, Michael.
Michael Waltrip with Wally on the radio. Let's go down to pit road, get the final stories before we go green. Start with Marty Snyder.
Well, Bill, as you told us earlier, only one chase driver out of the 10 has a win here at Talladega. Mark Martin has 2 of them. But he admits, you know what, I'm not a very big fan of restrictor plate racing, but I understand why you folks at home would love it so much. If I was at home, I'd be sitting on my couch and you couldn't pry me away from the television. That is excellent advice from Mark Martin. Sit back, relax, make sure the drinks and soft drinks and the snacks aren't too far away, because you won't want to miss a minute of today's race. Mark told me just a moment ago the car is outstanding. We can definitely win. Matt?
Tony Stewart took a small hit in the points last week, dropping 4 spots. Now he says that 18th place finish at Dover, that wasn't their chase mulligan. And they're not in catch-up mode just yet, because after all, they only are 23 markers out of first. But if you look at his past history this year and here at Talladega, today should be a great points day. He's got the car that dominated Daytona back in July, leading all but 9 laps. If you look at his past results here, 4 times, Dave Burns, he has finished second.
Ryan Newman would like to change the record books today for RP Roger Penske because he has no RP restrictor plate victories. He could do that today based on a very good car in practice so far. And momentum in the chase so far. He's the only chase driver to have 2 top 5 finishes in 2 races. That win at Loudon, and of course last week 5th at Dover. Alan?
Right now, every driver on the track, every crew member here on pit road is thinking the very same thing. Will the big wreck happen, and will our car be in it? For the 10 drivers chasing the championship, whether or not they're in the big wreck will determine whether Talladega was opportunity or obstacle for their title bid. For some, like Kurt Busch or Matt Kenseth, it could be an elimination race. Will the standings close up, or will some find their title hopes extinguished? We find out starting right now. Bill?
Thanks, Alan. You guys have a great day down there on pit road. Chevrolets have been very strong here at Talladega. They've won the last 13 races at this track. Take a look at the Chevy drivers to watch. In the last 8 restrictor plate races, Jeff Gordon has 4 wins, Earnhardt Jr. a couple, Stewart and Michael both with a win. We'll see what happens with those Chevrolets today. For much more on NASCAR, log on to NBCSports.com. Check out Benny's preview of each race in the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship. And Alan Bestwick has a look at why Kurt Busch is the driver with the most to gain from today's race at Talladega. It's all at NBCSports.com. And as we were going through the grid, you saw drivers that failed to make the race and drivers that had to fall to the back, and Bobby Hamilton Jr. was on both lists. He did not qualify for this race in his car, but they worked a couple of deals down in the garage. So Bobby Hamilton Jr. shifted to a car. He put 32 and tied on it. They wanted to get their sponsor in. Mike Skinner moved out of one car into another car, and Hermie Sadler gave up his ride. So that's why we got a couple guys moving cars, and one guy, Hermie, who did qualify, is not actually in the race.
And I would imagine some cash changed hands.
You think?
I think.
I think a lot of cash probably changed hands, but they really wanted to get the Tide ride and that sponsorship into this race, and Michael had the Aaron's deal. He wanted to get that into this race, and it took a lot of guys working hard, and they got it all worked out. Beautiful day here in Talladega, 82 degrees, sunny, breezy, and a lot of fun.
Well, it's a lot of fun for us. It's a lot of fun for the fans and hopefully the TV audience. But 43 guys not going to have a whole lot of fun today.
Pretty nerve-wracking.
The guy that wins will.
143,000 seats here. Tickets were sold to people from every state in the union, and 10 foreign countries are represented in the crowd, in the grandstands and in the infield. They've all come to see the excitement of Talladega. You get it for free, live on NBC. go. And now these cars will begin to get up to full speed. With the restrictor plate, it takes about a lap and a half, almost 2 full laps to get up to full speed.
Check out Rusty Wallace. He has that 2-car up on the outside trying to work his way from the back to the front.
Rusty lost an engine in qualifying.
What an unbelievable thing. I talked to Jamie McMurray in that 42 car up on the outside. Wally by Jr. talked to him last night. Wally, he said he has the best car he's ever had at Talladega. The car is flying.
Tony Stewart trying to get the lead and 5 bonus points.
Not quite this lap. Or will he? I think he got it. Yep.
5 bonus points for Stewart. Of the 10 drivers in the chase for the championship, those drivers are highlighted in Nextel yellow on the ticker at the top of your screen. On board with Tony.
Here comes his teammate Bobby Labonte in that 18 car.
Bump draft. There's the bump draft we talked about. That's actually pretty nice right there. They'll get a lot harder as the race goes on. These guys will just be slamming each other in that back bumper.
Bill, when you talk to crew chiefs in the garage all weekend long, they said the Tony car is who you want to run with. He can run anywhere. He's the car to beat. Latch on to him and you'll go or stay up at the front. And right now he's got his teammate lashed onto the bumper, AB.
Dale Jarrett sometimes has taken the strategy here at Talladega of dropping to the back of the pack and riding for a while in this race, saying it doesn't do you any good to try and finish if you're not around when the checkered flag waves. Today, with this brand new race car he's driving, Todd Parrott, the crew chief, says, we're going to try and stay up front as long as we can. That's the safest place to be on this racetrack.
And AB, he might have the horsepower to do it today, because the 88, 38, and also the 21 car they have some engines in the car. They're a little bit experimental, a little more horsepower, but they wonder about the durability. That's why they have them to get ready for the Daytona 500 in February.
You can go fast, but can you last is the question.
That's the key. That's what they're trying to find out.
Rusty Wallace had a start at the back of the field, has worked his way up to 25th. He's in the middle of that pack, right next to Mark Martin, Matt.
His longtime racing friend, now Rusty, told me that the Penske plate program has really stepped it up this year. He's trying to take advantage of it in his final restrictor plate race here today. He told me he doesn't want to be in the middle of the pack. First choice, obviously the front. Second choice at the back. But he says anywhere from the middle on back, usually that's where trouble finds people.
That yellow line is out of bounds. You cannot go down there and pass. If you do, you must give the position back, or NASCAR will bring you in for a conversation.
And that's why Tony Stewart backed off and let that 88 car get back in front of him. I think that's a Geronimo.
I think that was probably some of it. I don't know why it went down there so low. He didn't really need to go that far down, but sometimes you forget about that line when you're racing in a pack like this.
There they are, 3, 4 wide going down in turn 1 at 190 miles per hour.
And these cars look like they're glued to the racetrack, but believe me, they're not. These cars are a handful right now, and most of it has to do with the air. It's all the air turbulence, especially in the middle of this pack of racing, is making the car do weird things. Sometimes it won't turn going into the corner, and then the next lap it'll get sideways going into the corner. It just depends where the cars are positioned and where the cars are positioned around your car. I mean, sometimes it's terrifying because you don't know what the car's going to do. Sometimes,
most of the time,
only between the green and the checkers.
Bill, you've driven a car down the freeway behind the truck.
Yes, sir.
You know that feeling how the car moves around? That's exactly what these cars feel like every foot around the speedway.
magnify it times 100.
Yeah. Guys in single file trying to break away from this pack.
Where we talked about, hanging guys out to dry. Now, right here's Rusty. He's on board right now. He is in the middle of this pack. You can see all these guys are all bump drafting each other right now. You can hear Rusty working the throttle. This is where you have to be really, really careful in this race, because when you're in that middle lane, any guy around you makes a mistake, and you can be in the wreck. Here, backing off the throttle.
And when you do that, you lose the momentum.
See how the car's floating around, especially through the tri-oval. These
like I said, they're not stuck to the racetrack like they look. These things are just all over the place.
This track rough.
Very rough.
Yeah, but it's not as rough as some places they race at. You can see the cars going through the bumps, but a lot of it is the air.
Sadler leads rather, and here's Ryan Newman moving inside of Jimmy Johnson.
And inside Kenseth, the 17 car.
And Newman would like those 5 bonus points for leading a lap as well, and so would Matt Kenseth.
Junior, on the move, Alan.
Yeah, 5-time Talladega winner, BP. This race car, Tony Ray Jr., the crew chief, started on 2 weeks ago, Friday. It has been to the wind tunnel in those 2 weeks 5 times, getting ready for this one race. We get DEI back up front at Talladega. Marty?
Alan, they talked about the guys wanting the 5 bonus points. Matt Kenseth trying that high line to get those 5 bonus points. Going around Elliott Sadler. Sadler gets a little bit loose, but Matt said, I need the 5 bonus points, but today I have the best combination of body, car, and engine I've ever had in a restrictor plate race. Not only can we win, we can lead much of this race.
And there he is in front.
Hey, what, I don't know for how long. There's another couple teammates right behind him. Quietly working their way to the front. That's Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon.
Talked to Matt Kenseth's crew chief Robbie Reiser for about a minute in the garage this morning inside their hauler. He was so nervous he didn't even want to talk about the race. I said, are you in a bad mood? He goes, no. I said, Talladega. And he goes, yep. I said, I'll see you at Kansas.
He received those 5 bonus points for leading the lap.
A contender in the chase for the Nextel Cup. We're going to take a break. If trouble breaks out, we'll break in. You're watching NASCAR live on NBC. Still under green here at Talladega. Coming around to complete lap number 13 here are our AutoZone and the Zone drivers at Talladega. Junior with 5 wins in his last 8 races. Tony Stewart runs here. Of course, Jeff Gordon won here back in May. Our AutoZone and the Zone drivers at Talladega. Swap the lead up front. Sadler has it back. Matt Kenseth had it for a couple of laps. And Jimmy Johnson wants it, Alan.
Yeah, wants it badly, Bill. Remember we talked about his car getting some damage on his left rear corner in yesterday's final practice session. They had to repair the bodywork on the car, basically from the rear glass back to the back bumper. I asked crew chief Chad Knaus if there were any concerns about it. He said, no, we think we've got it all pretty close. The only thing Jimmy said is he thinks the left side fender skirt, that piece of metal that hangs down between the wheels toward the ground to seal the air from under the car, he thinks that's dragging just a bit. Otherwise, really good.
See that 6th car on the left-hand side there, that blue Viagra? Mark Martin from 24th to 6th. The only driver in the chase that has won here, he's got Dale Earnhardt Jr. on his rear bumper.
How about it, Marty? And guys, that's exactly where Mark wanted to be. He wants to run the high line. He told me that yesterday in final practice, the low line was not good for him. Bogged the car down. The car wouldn't go to the low line. The top line was very, very good for Mark. And he said, I'm committed to that for most of the day. Maybe the middle group, but the top group is what works for me. Dave?
The car continues to lead. The pole sitter is staying out front, and fuel mileage may come into play here today. Most teams begin to run between 35 and 37 laps for sure, but the 38 car will not be making a stretching fuel run like they might have. They tried some different changes to their carburetor, which would have saved fuel, but it really took away maneuverability for Elliott Sadler, so they stayed with a fuel-consuming, powerful setup on the 38.
From 1st to 43rd, 3.9 seconds. Jimmy Johnson looking for the lead on the high side.
Jamie McMurray looking for the lead on the low side.
And Elliott Sadler trying to hold it in the middle.
So who's going to win?
Through the tri-oval to the start-finish line, which is down close to turn number 1.
Yeah, McMurray didn't really have any help on his rear bumper, and that's what cost him right there. Now he's got some help there with the 17. The 17 actually pushing him.
And Jamie led that lap.
Marty?
Wow, this is just fun to watch, isn't it, guys? McMurray told me his car is so good, he feels like he can almost pass people by himself without any help. He can get a good run off of a corner, He thinks he can pass someone without the draft behind him. He said, like other people have said, best speedway car and combination I've ever had. I feel like we can lead a lot today. And I worked well with everybody, including, he mentioned specifically, Elliott Sadler.
Fun to watch, but is it fun to race?
Jeff Gordon's had a lot of success at this track. We asked him that question.
There's times that I absolutely love it, and then there's times when I absolutely hate it. You know, I think that the rules package that we have right now is the best that I've seen it. The cars can still pass, they can still close up, but they don't close up so much where we're just running all into one another. You know, and everybody's gotten their cars so close. The drivers have learned so much about the draft that, you know, it makes for very, very tight quarters. I'd say the only thing that I am against, and it's nothing we can do about it, it's just that the slightest little mistake by anybody, we all make them throughout the race, can cause a 20, 30 car pileup. And I'm just fortunate that our cars are as safe as they are these days.
You know, Jeff was right behind Jimmy Johnson earlier, went to a commercial, and what happened was Johnson was out front and he was trying to break the draft on the low side, the high side, and Jeff caught him and had to jump out of the throttle not to hit Jimmy Johnson, and he wound up losing about 10 or 12 spots. So I think Jeff's got a really good car, and he's working his way back up. But, hey, B, I think he's going to be pretty tough today.
Wally, I can give you the very latest on Jeff's car, direct from his radio. He said the front end not gripping as well as he'd like, a little bit sliding the nose in the corners in this tight crash.
Down the backstretch. Jamie McMurray leading the field.
Currently running in 35th position.
Matt? Bill, 2 issues for the 97 of Busch. Now first, he thought he passed the 41 of Casey Mears under the yellow line, so he had to lag back to let Mears go back by. Also, his spotter, Jimmy Brickhouse, reports to the team that they may have some slight cosmetic damage with the crash.
Trouble in turn 1.
Oh, car on its roof.
Michael Waldron. Mark Martin is in it, one of the championship contenders.
Sadler, the Polson on 38. Heavy damage.
That's Mark Martin's car right there. I couldn't really tell.
No steering at all. No steering at all, Mark said, but obviously he is okay.
Sometimes he's just along for the ride. And that's what these guys in the chase especially were concerned about. They were worried about is this right here.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. got part of it.
How you feeling, tired? I got a lot of damage. I hit pretty hard.
Yeah, championship leader Jimmy Johnson got a piece of that also, Bill. He has called into his crew some right side damage on the car. Crew chief Chad Knaus calling Jimmy in. They're going to change the right side tires, check it over, send him back out to stay on the lead lap and make a game plan for if there's anything else they need to address.
Not too bad, though, Alan. He got away with a lot of it there. Let's see if we can see what happens here, BP. You see Mark Martin there, and it looks like Elliott Sadler got turned by Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, looks like he got hit by the 48 car getting down the corner.
Michael went over twice. Look at the rear end hanging out of Michael Waltrip's car.
The 00 is Mike Skinner.
Okay, watch up front. Watch the 48 car. It just tags the 30. Just tags him. Just doesn't take a whole lot.
Michael coming here.
Poor Michael, he has no place. He makes contact with Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin.
That's what sent him over.
Yeah, Mark's the one that launched him.
Oh, man, those cars just getting by on the bottom side.
And like I said, he just looks like these cars are glued, but it just takes somebody to touch one of these bumpers in the wrong way, especially when you're in a corner. You can do it on the straightaway, as long as your steering wheel is straight, but Doesn't take a whole lot to get them sideways.
It really is a tightrope when you're racing here. I mean,
you've got to respect everybody, and you're so tight all the time. If the guy slips a little bit and gets out of the throttle, you've got somebody that's right on your bumper. So it doesn't take much for somebody to get into you.
So several cars involved. 20 laps are complete. They continue to work on those cars. Meanwhile, the field on pit road. Marty.
Well, Matt Kenseth said his car's very good. He's going to take 2 tires here, a little bit tight off the corners. They make an air pressure adjustment to the right front. Matt?
The 20's already in. Not sure if you ran through any debris. They were talking about going with a 4-tire change, but they're going 2 tires. Dave?
Top of your screen for Greg Biffle. He knows that he ran through debris, so he said we've got to change 4 tires on the 16. Alan?
Jeff Gordon taking 4 tires, bottom left of your screen. You'll see the race off pit road on the right side of the screen. Gordon going to lose some spots by getting the 4 tires. Marty?
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. Is surveying the damage from the Chevrolet. He came into the garage here. And we'll give him just one moment. We'll get to him in just a second. We had him a second ago, but his crew called him over to look at the right front. But a lot of damage to the 8 car. And we'll get a word with Junior in a second.
Well, a lot of guys down in that garage. Very crowded working on those cars. Junior, a 5-time winner here, but not today. This was a moment ago. Mark Martin climbing out of his car. 2-time winner at this track, 4 times second in the championship standings. Was hoping to get through here with some points.
And we all know how much he wants this championship. On board with Junior. Watch Mark Martin.
Okay, keep coming, buddy. Keep coming. Clear low. Clear low.
On board with Michael Waltrip.
This should be pretty wild. This is what you see out of the windshield.
Right in front of you. Come on around. Come on.
And he just got hit. He got hit. There's not a whole lot you can do when you're in the middle of that, Marty.
Yeah, guys, and after his team called him to look under the hood, it's terminal damage. But what happened to start all that?
I don't know. The 38 and the 20 or the 48s just stopped in the corner, right in the middle of the corner, and I didn't have anywhere to go. I hit Jimmy square, but I guess he had the 38 by the corner and just turned the 38 around. I don't know why they stopped. You had to ask them whether they got together or something in front of us or whatever. But I couldn't do nothing going that fast.
The racing seemed to be quite intense very early today, Junior.
Well, that's what we get paid for.
All right, Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be done for the day.
And his teammate Michael Waltrip got out of his car, we were told, under his own power. Mike Skinner, Joe Nemechek, Mark Martin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Michael Waltrip, Elliott Sadler, Jimmy Johnson all involved in that crash. And you can add the 2 of Rusty Wallace, another championship contender that got a piece of it. We'll update you when we come back to Talladega.
Since 1959, we've run the Daytona 500. Where's the best place to realize this experience? Race fans! Let's hear it!
Don't miss the 48th running of the Daytona 500, February 19th. For tickets, call 1-800-PIT-SHOP or visit racetickets.com.
You can pass better on the front stretch.
Nah, super stretch.
NBC Sports here at the Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama. Under the caution for a multi-car wreck.
Just a moment ago, the 38 car, Elliott Sadler, gets bumped from behind by the 48. Around he goes in front of all that traffic. He was running second when that crash took place. And we're fortunate 20 cars were not involved.
Yeah. Matt Yoakum.
And Bill, Michael Waltrip and I just watched the replay. What a wild ride.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. The world was right, and then it was wrong, and then it was right, and then it was wrong. And then I came to a stop, and the Aaron's Dream Machine slid right up beside the Napa Chevy. I thought, this could be a nightmare. I'm not sure, but I feel great. Somebody turned the pole sitter. What are you going to do?
Unbelievable. That's typical here. Oh, watching it again.
I knew what I was doing. And Rusty just bunted me back over and got me in a huge crash. But darn, I was having fun. I was trying to lay back like I said I was going to. And I got all the way up to 10th. I said, well, you know, these 10 guys, they're probably not going to wreck each other.
I guess I should have known better than that.
You can tell by his humor, Michael Waltrip is A-OK. Snyder?
I'm happy.
And fortunately, Mark Martin seems to be happy, too. You're glad you survived that one. What was your view of that?
Somebody probably spun the 38 out. Probably about all I saw. 38 spun, and I just want to say one thing. The fans are the only one that can do anything about this. No one else can. The drivers can't. The owners can't. And NASCAR's not going to do anything about it. So, I doubt if the fans can either, but they can sure try. I know that it's exciting racing to watch, but golly, I didn't even get a sweat worked up. And you just can't go against God's will. I'd have a championship by now if it was God's will, and I'm okay, and we'll finish this one off, and we'll worry about next year.
What would you do to fix it? And surely you don't think the championship is over at this point, Mark?
Sure would have been a lot easier if I'd have finished in the top 10 today. The only thing they can do really is take the banks out of these places, and then it wouldn't be as exciting for the fans. And so that's why it's never going to happen. But when you have 230-mile-an-hour race cars running around at 185, this is what you're going to get. I don't care. The drivers can't control it. You can say they can, but we don't really have control over the situation, and we can't get anything done. And the race cars today have outgrown these racetracks. They're 230-mile-an-hour vehicles, and it's like riding around out there kitty cars, at 185.
Some very outspoken comments from Mark Martin. Matt?
Elliott Sadler's also walked out of the infield care center. You're okay. You said you didn't need to see the video. You know exactly what happened.
Yeah, I know exactly what happened. The 48 just, I don't know where he was going. It's lap 18 or 19 or whatever it was, and too early in the race to be doing that, and I just had no control of the car. My back tires are off the ground. It's a shame. I'm going to bite my tongue right now, but I feel sorry for all the M&M guys, everybody in the shop, in the engine shop. We had a really good race car. We were just kind of riding around, pushing each other around, exchanging the lead, but way too early in the race to cause a big pileup like that. I mean, we have 3 pedals in the car. The middle one's the brake, in case he doesn't know that. Maybe I'll give him a diagram for next week, but it's a shame to take out a lot of good cars this early in the race. It's just no sense in racing like that early.
Obviously a very frustrated Elliott Sadler. Guys?
This car has been on and off of pit road 4 or 5 times now. Jimmy Johnson. So they're pointing the finger at Jimmy for this one. And take a look at what happened here at Talladega in the spring.
A lot of folks pointed the finger at Jimmy Johnson in this situation. Going down turn 1, he moves up, gets in 4-car Mike Wallace. He goes up, and the end result, several cars involved in this crash.
And several drivers were very upset with Jimmy after this race.
Well, that list just grew.
Yep. So that was May. And now from our helicopter, one more look at what happened here moments ago.
You watch the 38 car. He's right there in front of the 48. 48 got a good run. Right there, he just got in the back of him and turned him. And, you have to run this place with 1 foot on the throttle all the way down and 1 foot on the brake. And when something like that happens, you got to work the brake pedal. Like Elliott said, it's too early to be running over each other.
Jimmy Johnson, and here is his radio conversation after the crash.
Car hit me from behind and pushed me right into the 38. Traffic's in the corner. It's not the smartest thing, is it? But hey, that's all right. It's all right. We'll get her fixed up here.
All right, he said that someone ran the back end, pushed him in the 38.
Well, it must have happened about 300 yards before this crash, because if you look right here, there's nobody on the 48, on the 48's bumper.
There's the cars we're talking about, the 8 car.
Now, if you watch here, there's no contact, there's no contact, there's no contact. So he's already turning them before Junior got to the bumper.
Now on board with Ricky Rudd. The wreck's in front of him.
Hey, go low, baby, go low. Ease off, go low. Keep digging. Try to do the middle. Try to do the middle.
Oh, just got by.
Ricky Rudd weaving his way through. Under caution at Talladega after a multi-car wreck that took out championship contender Mark Martin and others.
Well, now, where's the fire, boys? Oh, fresh toasted sandwiches. Well, get those babies home before they get cold.
Fresh toasted sandwiches from Subway restaurants.
I'm hungry. You hungry?
Sponsors of Greg Biffle and Car 16.
7 races left in the chase for the Nextel Cup, and the excitement swirls at Kansas Speedway. Jimmy Johnson, Rusty Wallace, Tony Stewart, and the Nextel Top 10. Who can steer clear of danger? Who has the courage and cunning to make it to victory lane? The Banquet 400, next Sunday, 1:30 Eastern, NBC.
Coming to the green, here's our Miller race fact. The pole sitter has won only one of the last 19 Talladega races. We can cross that out and make that 20. Because Elliott Sadler was on the pole. He will not win today. It's an amazing statistic. Back to green.
Matt Kenseth, a 2-tire stop. Tony Stewart, 2 tires. Hal Busch, I'm sure 2 tires. Probably the first car with 4 would be Scott Riggs or Greg Biffle back in 7th or 8th.
Takes a good full lap, get these cars up to speed.
Riggs took 2 tires, we understand, on his pit stop. Let's get an update from Marty.
Well, here's the other side of the equation for Mark Martin. Remember, he's 4th in the championship, only 21 points behind Jimmy Johnson, and this car is heavily damaged. The front and rear clips are both bent. The track bar mount, which is in the rear of the car, is ripped out completely. The lower control arm places where they mount in the front are ripped out completely, but they're going to try to get back out. And one thing they have in their favor is there might be another big wreck. Maybe they could pass some cars that way, but if they do go back out now, at best they could pass 2 cars, the car of Elliott Sadler and Mark Martin, but they are actively trying to get Mark Martin's number 6 car back in this race.
Well, it's going to be a lot of work done if they are able to get that car back on the racetrack.
And what he was talking about is that Mark could pass Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Elliott Sadler and Kevin LePage at this point.
I tell you what, Jamie McMurray did not lie to me. He does have a very good race car. That 42 currently is shown in 3rd position.
And McMurray took 4 tires on that pit stop. He was excited about how good his car is.
And I think this is where it helps the guys that took 4 tires now. If this thing goes green, they make a green flag pit stop next round. Those guys that took 4 could get away with the 2. Martin drops to 7th. 3 spots he loses. And a big hit to points.
This is not Mark's favorite brand of racing.
No,
you might have guessed.
He's been not very happy with restricted plate racing.
Jamie McMurray at the front.
Oh,
wow, that could have been a disaster right there.
Jamie, careful. There's cars coming on the outside.
Kyle Busch in the 5 on the outside.
And just McMurray happened to check up that little bit on the front one. He's going to lose 5 or 6 spots because of that.
Alan, how about the 48 car? What kind of problems does he have?
Well, DP, they made 5 pit stops under that caution flag. Biggest problem for Jimmy Johnson, right front fender damage. Crew Chief Chad Knaus told Jimmy that the right front won't be able to stand any abuse. He's going to have to really be careful if he tries to bump draft anyone up through the traffic. If you'll notice, his teammates, Jeff Gordon and Brian Vickers, have dropped back to try and help Jimmy draft back up through the traffic and get back into contention for this thing.
Friends and teammates. Dave, how about Vickers?
Pretty good race car, and when they received just a little bit of left front damage on their car, they spent a couple of pit stops fixing that, and then with 1 to go, they came in and topped off the tanks, knowing that their teammate Jimmy Johnson would want some help going back through the pack. They're separated right now, but the 25 definitely trying to help lead his chase-hungry teammate back through the pack. Matt?
Casey Mears right there in the pink car, the 41 in the middle. Now he's clear on the outside. Now, he thought he had an ignition problem, guys, on that restart. It just didn't kick in, but now he said it's driving well. But he likes his car in the middle to the higher groove. He says that's where it performs best.
Hey, well, we've seen the high groove work pretty well for these cars today. Jamie McMurray at 42, remember, he used the high line to take the lead earlier before the crash.
McMurray's car is working everywhere. He just passed Biffle. Made it 3 wide going into 3 on the low side. Marty, he likes that 42 car.
He loves the car, Wally, and I know you've had a car that handled this well. Plate race before, and they're fun to drive when they drive like this. But actually, this is not where Jamie wants to be. Just radioed to his crew, said, get me out of the bottom lane. The car does not run well here. And two, his car has been tight for most of the day. So when you're trying to force it to stay down the bottom, it makes it feel like it's even tighter to Jamie. It won't turn.
Well, unfortunately, it's pretty busy up on the right side of him right now, so I don't know if he's going to be able to get out of that low line. But this is where you just got to be patient and wait for a gap to open up so your spotter can clear you into the next lane. Or get to the front and then don't worry about it.
How about that 29 car, Kevin Harvick?
And it has been an adventure for that team this weekend.
And the adventure continues as Harvick comes down with the lead.
Harvick failed post-qualifying inspection. And there's a lot to that story, Alan.
Yeah, sure is. The violations found on Kevin Harvick's car that involve Jimmy Johnson slowing down.
The left rear blew out.
Sure did.
Took the fender with it.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
Caution is out. One more coming behind you.
Well, and the caution should be thrown because we know that there's a lot of debris on the racetrack where this fender has been ripped off the 48 car.
Jimmy Johnson will have to limp it back.
We need to be prepared to do something with the fuel filling hole here. Be prepared to work on that.
Yeah, we always talk about what happens when these tires come apart. There you have it. When they do blow, they just rip the side of the race cars off.
And he's on the inner level there, right? That's a tire inside a tire.
And that's such a help on racetracks like this.
Right side of the screen as we go on board with Joe Nemechek.
There we see the 48 car going by, and there we see the smoke. And that was the start of the tire coming apart. And Jimmy is lucky he didn't spin down and back it in the fence.
No, he's lucky he did it on pretty much the straightaway. If that would have happened in turn 1 or turn 2, I'm pretty sure he would have been in the fence. But he had the car pointed straight when it blew.
So the second caution of the day out at Talladega for Jimmy Johnson, one of the contenders in the chase for the Nextel Cup.
Well, Mark Martin is the only one of the 10 chase drivers to have won a cup race here at Talladega. In fact, Mark has won 2 races here. His most recent win came in the caution-free race of 1997 when he beat Dale Earnhardt for the win in NASCAR's fastest 500-mile race ever. The race was completed in 2.5 hours. For more, log on to FordRacing.com. And we just got word, Bill, that Mark Martin is done for the day. He is listed as 41st on the field right now.
That's right, Marty. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. done for the day. 40th. Michael Waltrip, 42nd. Mike Skinner, 43rd. All out of the race.
You know, I talked about at the very top of the show about pit road, and you've got to be careful on pit road, and it can eliminate you. Watch as the 45 car, Kyle Petty,
top of the screen,
making a pit stop. He gets bumped from behind, oh my goodness, by the 18 car, Bobby Labonte. And luckily, his crew guys were able to get behind the wall before he made contact with that wall.
Still under caution here at Talladega.
Hey, Carol, have you met my friend Jimmy Johnson? Lunch today. Sorry, I already have plans with Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson, the Genesis project will save us 30% in the second quarter alone. Don't you think so, Jimmy Johnson? Great story, Jimmy Johnson!
Okay, maybe you can't take Jimmy Johnson to work, but you can take his fuel. Sunoco, the official fuel of NASCAR.
The field is taking the green flag going into turn 1. Under this caution, just about everybody pitted, a variety of strategies. Fuel only 2 tires, some with 4 tires. Kurt Busch in the 97 car leads the race. He did not stop. 5 bonus points for Busch, one of the championship contenders.
And Newman in the 12 car wants to get that lead, get those 5 bonus points. 16 car, Greg Biffle. That's why we see so many different strategies trying to get those 5 bonus points.
Behind the 41 car of Casey Mears is the 2 of Rusty Wallace. He'd like to get up there and get his 5 bonus points. On board with Rusty. Last ride at Talladega.
been too kind to Rusty.
What did you say in the pre-race show? One top 5 in all this time?
Yeah, and that was a 5th back in 1988.
My goodness.
An update on car 48 from Allen.
Yeah, a few more pit stops under this caution, Bill. They basically cut away all that sheet metal that had been blown away when the tire went on the left rear. Very concerned about being able to fuel the car. The neck where the fuel containers couple to put fuel into the car is in the left rear sheet metal. That's okay. They wanted to make sure that when the body travels down, they didn't have any sharp metal edges to cut another left rear tire. It's not a very pretty race car right now, is it?
You're not kidding.
But Allen is fast enough to meet the minimum speed that NASCAR is posted for today's race, so he can't continue to run around the racetrack.
39, now 40 laps complete in the UAW Ford 500. Take a look at our Craftsman pit summary. And this will juggle throughout the day, basically based on your pit strategy.
Looks like Gil Martin, the crew chief on the box for Kevin Harvick, decided to change 4 tires on that stop and put it from 29 back to 15.
So he took 4, and some of the other guys did not. Passed him on pit road. Back to your strategy now next time, Harvick. Only need 2, perhaps.
Right, if it stays green, that's what these guys, I think, try to set themselves up for.
Tony Stewart behind Jamie McMurray trying to work his way back to the front, Matt.
Now, Bill, you saw the replay of the incident between the 18 and the 45. There was another incident. Tony Stewart took 2 tires, but he stalled as he was leaving his pit stall. That jammed up pit road on my end. Mike Wallace trying to get in. He had to hit the brakes. And then the 10 car of Riggs was leaving. He had to get on the brakes. He hit his teammate, the 01 Nemechek. All slight body contact, nothing major. But we had some more incidents here on pit road.
Didn't somebody say something about pit road being a tough place today? Who was that?
He was mentioning that.
Yeah,
and the thing is, it's slight contact here, though, also. If you wreck these fenders in the pits, it will hurt your performance on this racetrack, because this place is all about getting through the air.
That's right, damage at 10 miles per hour will make a huge effect at 190 miles per hour.
That was one of Burns' cards in the countdown degree. Remember, it's a dent card. You don't want to have the dent card show up in your hand. Now it's time for the Singular Race Talk $1,031 challenge. Which driver will win a restrictor plate race first? I would not vote for Jimmy Johnson today.
No.
Probably should have started this at the start.
Maybe. You can vote by texting the word race to 191 on your Singular wireless phone, or go to NASCAR.com. You'll also be there for a chance to win $1,031.
Rusty Wallace hung up on the outside, hung out to dry, as they say.
And he is hung out to dry. There's no one to help poor old Rusty, and back he goes. Now, someone finally felt sorry for him. No, still going backwards.
Rusty was 4th place that last lap and lost about 20 spots just because he got forced out of line and was hung out to dry.
And he's trying to regroup and start to work his way back to the front, but Rusty, like some guys, fuel only on that last stop. Rusty, his final shot at picking up that first points paying restrictor plate win for himself and owner Roger Penske.
Who's that behind him in that Ford car?
Mike Wallace.
There you go. So you got friends, teammates, and brothers. You saw Rusty with the hand gesture telling Mike to come on.
Then they've got Jeff Burton, the 31 car. Rusty said, I think maybe I'll try to follow Jeff. Go down the middle.
Mike's going to follow Rusty. Jeff Green in the 43 is going to follow Mike.
And Harvick's going to try to pass them all on the inside.
Harvick's getting past right now. By the looks of it, he's been dropping back as well.
What about Jeff Burton, Dave?
Pretty good race car, guys, and that might be a good car for Rusty to follow. After the morning practice yesterday, they did some changes on that front end, and it never tightened up, never wanted to have that pushy feeling to it through the entire final practice session. So Jeff very pleased with his car. I think you'll see it up front a long time today.
Right in the middle of that, towards the front, you've got 25 of Brian Vickers and Jeff Gordon. Working his way back up, and he lost a lot of positions on pit lane that last pit stop, so they must have made some changes or something, because his car was good, but he lost a lot of spots. spot right there coming out of turn 4. The car's really floating, and they just slide up out of the corner.
Sterling Marlin in the Coors Light Dodge.
Dave, how about Bill? What's he saying?
He just radioed in, guys. It's really, really loose when guys are tight on the outside of me. When the cars are really up next to him, Craig's car is hard to handle.
And you can see that, Dave, by the video. And there again, it's when we talk about this place is all about the air and the way the air is flowing around these cars right now. Sometimes you have it pushing you in the racetrack, and sometimes you don't. It's actually lifting you out of the racetrack.
See all these cars going by. Finally, here comes the 48 car Jimmy Johnson drafting with Jeremy Mayfield in the 19th and Scott Riggs in the 10th. Alan, has he said anything on the radio talking about Jimmy Johnson?
Oh, yeah, BP, there's a lot of radio traffic. In fact, it's about nonstop. A lot been made about the fact that all 5 Roush Racing cars are in the chase for the Nextel Cup, and only one of the Hendrick Motorsports cars is. But Jimmy Johnson has those 4 other teammates on the track. They're working to try and help him make the most out of today.
And there's been a lot of talk about the...
You want to try to get back up there, or what do you want to do here? Get in there once you got switching me. I was having a hard time hanging on to those 4 cars. I need some help. Guys, if you can get back there to help us, great. But, you know, the big key here is we got to finish this race even. Coming to the green, pace cars off. Jimmy said he was having a hard time keeping up with us before. Never mind now, but they can use the push. But, you know, we got to do what we got to do, too. What's he doing? I'll let you know if we got to go back and help him. You keep running where you're running. They get double foul, will be all right.
There we go. That was the voice of Jeff Gordon tagged onto the end there. I didn't think I was talking that quietly. Jeff tried to do what he needs to do to win the race, but at the same time, the big picture for Hendrick Motorsports, win the championship for Jimmy Johnson. What we have to do to get the most points today.
See Jeremy Mayfield back there. I mean, is something wrong with his car, or is this strategy on his part?
I bet it's strategy on his part.
Dave, what are they doing?
It's strategy on their part. Actually, they were focusing on something earlier where they had a tire rub with the car, but it went away. And so now Jeremy, like some of the other guys, is running it back right now, biding his time.
I tell you, he better get up there on the back bumper of those guys, because if they run off and leave him, he'll be lapped quickly.
48 laps complete. A fast traffic jam at Talladega.
Tuesday's better than Wednesday.
What if the engineers at Ford Racing let you take Kurt Busch's championship car out for a little spin? Think you could handle it?
They're coming! I keep them up on the wheel. What? Give them room! Hold on!
Maybe not. But you can drive a Ford built by those same engineers. Experience Ford Championship Weekend at Homestead Miami Speedway, November 18th through 20th. For tickets, call 1-866-409-RACE.
This is item number NBH11672, a 2002 Pontiac Sunfire molded coolant hose. That thing is sweet.
Wow, this looks like a collector series hose, Michael.
Absolutely, Dale. And while the hose itself is a very nice piece, just look what happens when we start to accessorize.
Wow, that makes a real statement.
It screams, Dale.
It sure does, Michael. It says this guy really knows his hoses.
Nice.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Series racing from Talladega is brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR. Grab a cold one, the race is on. By Sprint, proud partner of the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. By Ballpark Franks, be big, be meaty, be frank. And by Sunoco, the official fuel of NASCAR.
Haven't missed a thing. 36 cars on the lead lap. The top 31 cars separated by 1.9 seconds. Jamie McMurray back to the front. Tony Stewart right behind him, and a bunch of company coming. Here's the Wendy's race menu. We're in Kansas next Sunday afternoon on NBC at 1:30 Eastern Time. Then it's off to Charlotte for a Saturday night race on October 15th. Then on to the short track at Martinsville, then the lightning quick Atlanta Motor Speedway. All on on NBC, and all our coverage begins with the Bank of America countdown to green. Our Wendy's race menu.
I thought something was wrong with Stewart there for a second as low as he dropped down, but
he's done it a couple of times.
Yeah. What's he doing there, Matt?
There is something wrong with the 20. The water temperature is running very hot. In fact, Zippy told Smoke, if you want to pull out to try to get fresh air, go for it. All the guys are up on the wall just in case it gets too hot. He has to come in, but they took a good shot of that front grille, and you can see it looks pretty clean.
Yeah, it's clean. I mean, he's out front right now, so I still don't know why he's dropping down like that on the straightaway, but we will watch.
It worked because last time he led that lap, Matt.
The big thing was he was running second and third in line. He didn't have that fresh air, and when the 42 McMurray moved to the high side, that gave Smoke that fresh air he needed.
Okay.
Marty, how about McMurray?
Well, he moved to the high side, as Matt was talking about, on purpose because he said his car was just too tight trying to run the bottom, and plus he saw Tony trying to peek out and get some air, so he's trying to help Tony out a little bit too. But you can kind of see the yo-yo effect that Jamie does. He'll let the 17 get to his bumper, and then he said when the 17 gets close to him, he just gets a huge push and goes way out front.
Did Tony do that again? What jump he got on that 42 car?
Yeah. Well, it worked here, but it didn't work going into one a couple laps ago. Problem is, sometimes when you get a gap like this in between you and the guys that are behind you, they get a run, and they'll pass you.
This is a race where you can get too good of a lead.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's Brian Vickers in the 25. Next to McMurray. More on the Home Depot ride, Matt.
When he drove by the front stretch, he told Zippy it's still at 260, and it's not in a hurry coming down on their next stop. They are going to pull some tape off the front to get more air. Close contact there between the two cars there, the 25 and the 42, but they're going to try to pull more tape off to get more fresh air in to cool that engine.
The problem with that is, as they take that tape off, they slow the car down a little bit.
Yeah, and 260 is just getting there to the point where it's being unsafe as far as the engine goes. You can run it at 260, but if it gets any higher than that, you're in trouble. As long as he's out front, he's okay. But if he starts getting people in front of him, that temperature is going to go way up.
Another hot car would be the 16 of Greg Biffle, Dave.
And we don't mean hot like fast right now, overheating perhaps, but he hasn't said a temperature yet in the 16. What he did say was tell my teammate Kurt Busch right in front of me, I'm breathing the nose out. I'm coming out to get some fresh air in the car. I'm not trying to pass you. That does two things. That keeps Kurt from running out to block him and blocking the air that he wants to get on the nose, and also keeps him from actually also gets his nose out there so we can get that car cooled down a little bit.
I tell you what, they just haven't raced this much. They only ran yesterday in 15, 20 lap spurts, and now they've been out here for, well, so far, how many laps have we run? 55? But we're running in these 15, 20 lap segments, and they're just not getting a chance to cool the radiators, the water, the engine.
And it's hotter here than it normally is for this race, out in the mid-80s today. Well, we got our lead pack of 36 cars and 3 wide at the front of the field. Like that all day at Talladega.
Introducing Duralast, auto parts built.
Trouble here at Talladega. Caution is out.
Mike Bliss is 0. I don't know if he ran in the back. Someone ran in the back or just lost it off turn 2. All of a sudden, around he goes. Maybe the left rear tire blew on the car.
Let's take a look. This happened just a moment ago.
He just, left rear blew.
Good call, Benny.
And when that happens in the middle of the course, that's why Jimmy Johnson was so fortunate a while ago. It happened in the straightaway.
There are a few more fortunate guys out there.
Yeah. Jeff Green, the 43 car, not so fortunate. Mark Truex looks like he has fender damage in that one car.
Yes, he does.
There's Mayfield way down there. Comes back on the racetrack. He cleared it.
I think the 11 car, J.J. Yaley, FedEx car, also involved.
On board once again with Ricky Rudd.
See, Bliss is a couple cars up ahead of Ricky right there. There you see the smoke. Ricky gets out of the throttle.
In front of you, buddy. We're right in front of you. Good job. Keep coming. Yellow's out.
On board with Dale Jarrett, UPS Ford.
Now let's see DJ what he sees. Oh, man, he just goes down. And luckily, they paved this a few years ago. That used to be grass he was on back there. That would have been problems.
And there it's okay to go below the yellow line, which is an out-of-bounds line here at Talladega.
Mike Wallace barely getting by. There we see Yaley come into the... Oh, he runs in the back of the zero car. See Quapple in the 77 making contact with the outside retaining wall, and I don't know if Tony Raines in the green car was involved or not. And Harvick, something wrong with Harvick? He's way back there.
And well, Wally said he'd been dropping back, so either he's going back there for a reason or that he had some problems. But it worked out for him there.
Yeah.
Same for Jeremy Mayfield. And if they come to pit road, we'll see what they do with Tony Stewart's grill.
And they probably will come to pit road because this gas tank they have in these cars only holds around 13.5 gallons, so you got to stop every chance you can to put fuel in it.
A parade to pit road, Marty, coming for you.
Yeah, Bill, Matt Kenseth ran out front for most of that run. Because of the other teams having water problems, they are not currently. They're going to clean the grill. They're going to make no chassis changes to the car. It'll be 4 tires for the 17 team, and Matt wants a clean bottle of water and a clean windshield. Matt?
Todd Foster wearing a crew cab. Hits the lugs on the right rear. They're going to make a 4-tire change. They're going to take their time to get the tape off the front nice and neat, not to ruin the rest of the tape. Pull that engine, Dave.
16 car of Greg Biffle. They are going to make a little bit of a wedge adjustment. Car's a little bit loose. They did not remove any tape on the front. Just clean the grill. Alan.
Championship leader Jimmy Johnson, just right side tires and back out on the track.
That's going to be interesting to see how that car performs in the draft up front with no left rear fender. I can't believe it'll be very good.
Gained 13 spots on pit road. Might be giving them back in a hurry. Look at that shot, Benny.
Todd Foster from Birmingham, Alabama. Uh-oh, trouble. He goes around to the left side. This doesn't take long, Bill.
Those guys working hard on pit road at Talladega.
The Gulf Coast. You've seen the lives it's affected. Countless Americans face months, even years of recovery.
And we're asking NASCAR fans to help. Please give generously.
Help these people get their lives back on track. It's going to be a long road.
But we can help them find a better tomorrow. Go to NASCAR.com now to give.
NBC Sports at the Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama. Elliott Sadler and Dale Jarrett took him to the green flag.
But it didn't take long. Lap 20. The 38 car, the pole sitter, gets a bump from behind by the 48. Around he goes in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr., Mark Martin, Michael Waltrip, Mike Skinner.
And those 4 cars, including Martin, a contender for the championship, out of the race. Wild ride for Michael Waltrip. Everybody was okay. There's Mark's car. There's Mark out of the race, done for the day.
Lap 32, Jimmy Johnson's left rear blows, taking the left rear fender with it.
That brought out the caution. Johnson, another driver in the chase for the championship.
And we see Kyle Petty gets bumped behind coming onto pit road by the 18 car in the inside wall, pit wall. He hits.
Lap 57, Mike Bliss blows a left rear. It's Jeff Green, J.J. Yaley. Martin Truex Jr. got a piece of it. And now we're going back to green. Brian Vickers leads. Tony Stewart has a hood up on pit road.
Looks like you put in water in the car, and he currently restarted in 31st, Matt.
BP, he hit pit road again. They put water in it because the temperature really wasn't coming down. They also took a look just to make sure there wasn't any bump drafting damage that might have messed up the airflow through the grill into the radiator. So far, he's in the back. A lot of people don't want to be.
we see Jimmy Johnson sitting there in third spot with no left rear fender, VP, so we'll see how long he can stay there.
I think his car would not be too aerodynamically sound.
I can't believe it is. And normally when somebody comes up behind a car like that, they don't want to draft with that car because they would rather go on by.
No friends right now. Johnson looking under the 97. Kurt Busch.
And Kenseth decided he would try to take the lead, but no one went with the 17 car and left him out to dry.
Now you see Gordon up behind the 48, but like I said, I just can't imagine that car's handled very well in the corner when somebody's right up behind them.
300 teammates in a row there. The 48 of Johnson, the 24 of Gordon, who took 2 tires, then the 5 of Kyle Busch.
And finally, Matt Kenseth, the 17 DeWalt car, has someone to draft with. Rusty Wallace. Like a man without a country there for a while.
Jeff Gordon needs to get by that 48 car, as far as I'm concerned, and move on.
Marty, did Matt Kenseth say anything on the radio?
Yeah, BP, he made that move intentionally very early on. He said, you know what, my car just doesn't push as good as I thought it would, meaning it doesn't push other cars as good as I thought it would. He said, I'm going to try to take the lead early in this run. I think it will run out front better than it will pushing someone. But when he went, no one went with him, so he had to fall back, and now he'll have to work his way back to the front.
For Busch stepping out of line, going low. Pulls up on the back of Casey Mears.
And here comes you-know-who. 42, Jamie McMurray.
41 and the 42 are teammates. Mears in the 41, the 42 of McMurray. Marty on McMurray.
And the car's been so fast today, Bill. His biggest problem is that it's been tight for most of the afternoon, which means it doesn't want to turn when he's in the corners. On the last pit stop, 4 tires. They went up on the track bar, put a pound in the right rear tire, trying to make it a little bit better. Clearly, they have. He goes to the front, Dave.
Ryan Newman, a good race car today. No changes on that car the last stop except for the 4 tires and except for a little tape taken off the lower right on the front of that grill. Just run a little bit more. Matt?
The 41 of Mears, who's right in front of the 97. Now they see the 25 of Vickers dumped down in front of him. Now he says the car is running very well. No changes in their last stop. The track, though, is getting a little slick. His temps are running high, so he did turn the fans on, guys.
Fans to pull the air through the grill into the radiator, trying to help it go. See 17 trying to come back on the outside of the 2.
Let's pay off our singular poll here before anything nasty might happen. Which driver will win a restrictor plate race first?
Oh, they're talking about the Daytona 500. They think Johnson's going to win the Daytona 500. I don't think he's going to win today, though.
8th right now.
That's not bad.
And while we're talking about Jimmy Johnson, both Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Busch had their shocks taken from them in post-race inspection at Dover last week. That's been a very hot topic in the garage this weekend. It does not have a bearing on this race because NASCAR controls the shocks here, but we expect to see a new rule before we race.
Oh, trouble!
Holy car back in the front of the field.
Oh, and Scott Briggs on his roof.
Oh, brakes. Man, there's been a lot of cars getting out their roof lately.
And I think I said earlier on that the fans loved it, the TV audience, but 43 drivers were not too happy.
The window net did come down on Scott Briggs' car, which is a great sign.
That indicates the driver is okay. Jeff Burton in the 31 car.
See Riggs. 48 has more damage. Scott waving to the crowd. Attaboy, Scotty. From Bahama, North Carolina.
He's okay, Russell. He's okay.
Climbing out. The drivers don't like the racing, but they sure do like the safety issues that have been mandated for these cars.
Yeah, the cars have come such a long way. Especially with the head and neck restraint, the Haas device, which I've tried out personally.
was Casey Mears in the 41. He was right about where it started. There's Johnson coming back to pit road.
Well, let's see. There we see the 41 car. Looks like he's going to get bumped behind by the 12.
Ryan Newman in the 12. Briggs hard into the wall.
And it gets worse.
Yes.
There you see the 41 car, the 12 lines up. We talked about this bump drafting thing. He wasn't lined up straight when he hit the 41 car. The 41 car was just a little bit to his left. You got to give him a straight shot. And this was coming through the tri-oval, which is another problem.
And the 16 car, another Nextel Cup point contender, involved in the crash.
As was Rusty Wallace in the 2. Another look.
See what? See how these cars are turning? You can't bump draft somebody when the car is turning.
Once more. There's Biffle in the middle of it. Then he comes down off the wall.
I think would have cleared it, but he kind of got sandwiched.
Had a heck of a view.
Let's see.
There it is.
Right behind Mike Wallace.
Stay in front of you. Stay up, stay up. Easy, back it down as much as you can.
Wow, that's not what you want to see out of your windshield.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I'm okay.
On board, Rusty Wallace.
In front of you.
That's another area of the track that was repaved in recent years.
His brother almost got him.
Yeah.
Rusty got further.
No, he's got damage on the front of the car.
I think Biffle got him. See right there.
Yeah.
And then when he hit the apron here in the grass.
Yep. Yes.
But could have been a lot worse. Like I said, that used to be grass down there. It used to be really bad.
Mark Martin went through a fence down there one year, remember?
I do.
Fourth caution period of the day.
I don't know how they got that car on the rollback.
Let's get some updates from pit road. Marty.
And one of the championship contenders, Greg Biffle, back here in the garage area. The damage is actually very repairable, Bill. It's a little left front, little right front on Biffle, and he's asked for a moment to cool down. Also left rear damage for Greg Biffle, and they should be able to repair this damage. We hope to get a word with him here in just a moment.
So these guys go back to the garage to work as hard as they can to get Biffle back out on the track. That's the 2 of Rusty Wallace, another contender in the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship. Matt?
Well, this has been some day for Jimmy Johnson. First, take us through the first accident today, Jimmy.
I'll watch you back here, guys. First accident, getting bum drafted from behind, got my hand up trying to slow down, and got them on the brakes trying to get slow down going into turn 1 and 38, got turned around. I don't think that I got into him, but if I did, I take responsibility for not getting slowed down, but it's a little tough when you got somebody tucked under your butt pushing you as hard as that. Hand was up and I was on the brakes, and I just hate that it took out so many cars.
This has been a tough place for you.
It certainly has, and then this one, it's so easy to sit on your couch and point fingers and say so-and-so did something wrong, but until you're out here in these cars at the speed and seeing all the near misses and what is really going on, it's not worth forming an opinion. I don't know what happened there, but all anybody can say is it's Talladega.
Well, his team is looking over the damage and trying to get this car back out to try to earn whatever points he can. Snyder?
Well, Matt, Greg Biffle's had a moment to collect his thoughts, and what happened from your perspective, Greg?
Ryan Newman spun the 41 out. It's tough. It's just this is what everybody pays the money to come see right here.
The damage does look very repairable, though.
Yeah, but we're still going to be in the back. We won't be able to keep up with the draft or nothing. We'll just try and get as many points as we can, and just hopefully Ryan makes a bunch more wrecks and takes some more people out, and maybe we'll gain those positions.
All right, Doug Richard, the crew chief, has called for several large pieces of sheet metal to place over the holes where they are, especially in the right rear and the left front. Dave?
Marty, Greg Biffle obviously not happy with the way Ryan Newman was handling all this. Ryan, of course, not pleased with the outcome of all this, and here were his comments on the radio following the accident.
And I'm sorry about backed off him as I was getting there, but he was already sideways. I was into him before I got to the trial. Well, there, just as we're getting into the trial, well, he started yawing out. I had a car pushing me, and I was on him, but I wasn't pushing him, and just kind of took him right on around. Obviously, I didn't mean to do it.
And sometimes you get going so fast, and like you talked about, if the guy in front of you just breathes the throttle,
you're on top of each other so much during this race, and if your car gets a little bit out of shape, and like you say, you just crack the throttle, you've got somebody right behind you. And I mean, it's like, you know, none of these deals are intentional, but you're racing such tight quarters that it's just being at the wrong place at the wrong time.
From the flag stand.
And it's hard to give an inch on these deals.
Another multi-car wreck here at Talladega brings out the caution. Jamie McMurray is scored as the race leader. Tough day for the Chasers.
As we get ready to go green, Jeff Burton has come from the Infield Care Center. What happened from your perspective, Jeff?
I think the 12 got into the two mirrors. I'm not real sure, but I'm going to tell you something. If they don't calm down, that won't be the last one. Everybody's driving 20 feet over their head and doing a lot of stupid stuff, and everybody needs to catch their breath. If not, it won't be the last one.
We're watching on board right now. It seems the racing has been very intense from the very get-go today.
It's always like that with 20 to go. It's just it started at the green flag, and you cannot. Everybody's fighting to keep everybody. Nobody wants the bottom. You either want the middle or the top. So everybody's shoving each other to keep in that position. If you get on the bottom, you're just in trouble. You go to the back. So everybody wants the middle or the top, and everybody is just driving. It's pretty ridiculous. I mean, I saw a lot of people get run into in places you're not supposed to do that. If it doesn't calm down, it'll only get worse.
Green flag's back out, Bill.
Lap 71 of the UAW Ford 500 at Talladega.
And I thought Truex Jr. that one car was in the crash off turn 2 and Mike Bliss blew the left rear tire, but I don't think he was. I think he was able to stop because looking at the car now, I don't see a lot of damage to the number 4.
Runs in the second spot. Scott Riggs treated and released from the Infield Care Center. Some of the guys, the drivers in the garage this morning were talking about how they could feel that it was a more than average. The intensity was above average in the garage area this morning, even for Talladega. Can you sense that sometimes when you come to a track?
Yeah, where you sense it is the final practice or the last couple practices. When you see people driving in the packs, if you see cars swaying all over the place and a lot more take than give, then there's a feeling it's not going to be a good day on Sunday as far as the driver's concerned.
Let's check in with Marty while we watch the race on the track.
And believe it or not, Scott Riggs had just started to move to the front of the field after waiting in the back of the pack trying to miss what you got in the middle of. Scott, what happened?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know what happened. It seemed like somebody got into the 41 car in case he turned around, and I thought I was about 3 car lengths by him, and all of a sudden got hung and clipped in the right rear by somebody or something, and turned me in the wall. And after that, went upside down, and I was still bracing myself even though I was upside down, and I felt somebody hit me again, and we tumbled again. So I just hate it because that was probably maybe the best car we've ever had. A lot of guys wouldn't work with us right now. I was just trying to be careful and be in the right place at the right time, let those guys beat each other up and make these big wrecks and hopefully be there at the end. And it was working our way until we got caught up in it and thought we were past it. But just hate it for all the guys at Checkers and Rallies and Valvoline and everyone, Chevrolet. Like I said, this is probably our best shot to have get a shot at a win or have a great finish. And I thought we had a pretty strong car. I didn't see anybody that had a car any stronger than mine for sure. Just if I had a little help there, could have done it. So just hate it for all the guys, but tell everybody back home okay.
After that wild ride, we're happy to report Scott Riggs just fine.
And there's about 20 guys that feel that way. You know what I mean? That they have a really good race car and they got a shot to win. And that's what makes this racing so close, because there are 20 guys that have a shot to win this race.
Check this out. Talladega was the wild card. And so far, it has proven to be.
About half of them.
A wild day for sure. Rusty Wallace.
And let's go to the next one.
Oh, I got more than half of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. still out there with race cars in one piece. For now, yeah. It's not over. And guess who? You know who's in front?
Jamie McMurray. These are the cars that were involved in the most recent crash. Wallace has been on and off of pit road under the green. And the leaders did hit under the caution. Back to Marty.
Hey, Bill, Casey Mears quite upset when he came from the Infield Care Center. Your perspective on that, Casey?
I just had a run that's going around the outside of the 25, and I was just breaking the bumper line of him, and then I just got a little tap right in the center, you know, right when I think it was the 12 car, I guess it was behind me. I haven't seen it get replay yet, but it just spun us around. It doesn't take much when you're in the trial. If you hit somebody just the wrong spot, it'll knock them loose. So unfortunate, because it just seems like the way our year's been going. You know, every time we got a good run going, we have a little bit of a problem, but real proud of everybody at Chip Ganassi Racing. We built a real fast race car today. All the guys in the tap shop and Ernie Elliott Engines, we had a real good car. It's just unfortunate, again, we have a good car and we don't come home to get finished, so we'll see how it goes.
See you in Kansas.
Thanks.
See, Joe Nemechek, like he broke out of the pack. He may have some problems. He's coming to pit lane.
Lost an engine.
Flat right in front.
Flapping yet, but coming apart. All right, back it down. We'll be okay.
Tires flat.
Slow it down. We don't want to tear our car up. It'll be fine.
They had a motor problem here yesterday.
Sides, right sides, right sides.
So Joe slowly down pit road while the field charges off of turn 2 and down the backstretch.
And Jamie McMurray's having by far the best run of 2005 season for him.
Four cars on the lead lap. Going first, 22nd, 1.8 seconds. Take a look at our Pizza Hut speed at the line.
Yeah, and this can come from anywhere on top speed here at Talladega. The draft is so much, and you could be in the middle of the pack and just get a good run the last 200 yards to become the fastest guy on that lap.
But it does give you the idea that they're hustling. They go very fast, and it's hard to stop. There's Nemechek back out on the track.
He's going to be a lap down, but he's still trying to get his car back up to speed.
Rusty Wallace is back on pit road. Matt, you over there?
Hadn't been this high in the points since 2001 February. Not going to have a great day today.
On pit road trouble, the 5 car.
Kyle Busch in the wall. Caution is out.
Got the fence a little bit, boys. Just got the fence a little bit. Inside area.
Make it pit lane.
See, the rear tire is flat.
Kills right where it went down.
Okay.
He goes right to the garage, or actually stops right at that opening to the garage.
I think they're telling him to take the car to the pit area. They might be able to work on it there.
There's the 5 car of Kyle. Travis Quapple right behind him. Yeah, that's some nice driving right there to save that.
That was a fantastic job of driving.
Marty.
Well, Bill, Jeff Gordon has surveyed the damage to the 24 car, and many drivers who have come from the Infield Care Center say it seemed unnecessarily intense out there pretty early today.
Yeah, it definitely was. You know, I saw a lot of bump drafting in the trial in the corners, and guys just slamming guys for no reason. And you know, I think that what's happened is cars are so equal, driving good here at Talladega, that you got a lot of guys that are just blocking, you know, and you have to. I mean, you gotta block your position, because that's what prevents guys from coming up through the middle and stuff. So, you know, when you get that going on, you just got to get a lot of guys mirror driving, which we all do it. And I don't know what you can do about it. You know, it's in our hands, in the driver's hands, in control. I think the bump drafting is ridiculous, and you know, and I hope that you know we can learn our lesson from things like this, but it doesn't seem like we do.
Is there a solution to this, Jeff?
You know, like I said, I think it's in the driver's hands. I mean, we're the only ones that can really prevent our front bumper from driving in the back bumper of the car in front of us. And, you know, I mean, it's one thing to do it on the straightaway. it's a whole nother thing to do it through a corner or through the trial one, and it's even getting way out of control on the straightaways. So I mean, there was one time where my front bumper was pinned to a guy in front of me, and the guy behind me just was pushing me, and I really wasn't even driving the car anymore, and that's a pretty scary feeling, 190 some miles an hour.
Matt? And the 97 of Kurt Busch making his way to his pit stall. The car has been great today. No changes on this stop. Dave?
And Ryan Newman coming in right now. It's going to be a 4-tire change for Ryan. Doesn't look like they're making any adjustments to the 12 car. Marty.
And Jamie McMurray coming off pit road, top of your screen. They were worried about the right rear tire maybe rubbing up against the fender well. They changed 4 tires on the stop. No chassis changes. They did clean the front grille.
And a variety of strategies down there.
Oh, boy, I'll tell you. 2 tires, 4 tires, no tires. It's amazing.
And a lot of that was all fuel only for those guys. Mike Wallace gets the Ballpark Lucky Dog Award. The first car scored off the lead lap, so Mike back on the lead lap. Well, under caution at Talladega, where Jeremy Mayfield scored as the race leader. Working our 5th caution of the day here at Talladega. Here are the look at the standings in the Busch Series. They're off this weekend. Martin Truex Jr. just 26 ahead of Clint Boyer. They hit the track next Saturday at Kansas. And you'll see that on NBC. Transform the way you watch NASCAR. NBC and Sony HD TV proudly present today's race in high definition.
All right, pace car off. We are going back to green flag racing. About 200 miles into this 500-mile race. I think it's as wild the next 300 miles. The cars
You're clear, you're clear. Kevin Harvick, the race leader, green back out of Talladega.
A lot of shuffling right now of cars and positions because of the different pit strategies.
You know, Wally, Jeff Gordon talked about we've got to figure out some way to stop this. And you talked about it at the very top of the show, walking through the garage area and seeing all the support that these cars have behind the front bumper so they can go up and run in the back of someone. Take that support out. Take all that cow catcher. It looks like a cow catcher on a train. Take that out.
I agree, because if you can't go up and slam somebody, you're going to take half the wrecks out of the equation.
That's right.
Because they've made the front of these cars so strong.
They've made these cars where you can do that, where it's almost expected of you to go up and bump draft each other, and that does help you. I mean, it gives you speed, but you can't make a mistake. You can't touch anybody unless that steering wheel is dead straight in your hands.
Elliott Sadler coming out of the garage. He is 61 laps down.
And Elliott Sadler's going back out because he wants to finish 11th in NASCAR Nextel Cup points in 2005. It's at least $1 million bonus, and you get on stage in New York and recognized.
$1 million payoff and about a $400,000 bonus for that 11th spot. Because of the chase for the championship, that's the highest position he can get. The top 10 guys already locked in.
Start seeing these guys breaking out and making a second file. There's Dale Jarrett in the 88 and Martin Truex in the 1 car. The problem that Martin has, he probably has a good car. The biggest problem Martin has is that yellow stripe on his bumper.
It says, I don't want to draft. It tells all the other competitors, no, I don't want to draft with you because you're a rookie.
The Chicago White Sox have eliminated the Cleveland Indians. In the American League wild card race, that locks in the Boston Red Sox.
We hate to say that, didn't you, Weber?
He's crying. Look at him.
I'm sorry, Bill.
The Red Sox get the wild card. The New York Yankees are the division champions.
Rookie promise.
Just like a lot of these drivers out here. And now on top of everything else, we are getting a report from NASCAR of rain on the roof here at Talladega.
Well, there's raindrops on our window, and I don't know where it's coming from.
That one cloud right here.
Yeah, it usually
that one
comes from the sky.
Cloud.
Yeah.
Over this race right now.
Cloud over this track today, for sure.
And Kevin Harvick, the 29 car, is back.
Well, he's maybe.
Well, he was
back
way
to the back. Yeah.
He was way back there before.
Well, but I don't know what they did on their pit stop, but I think
much.
he got up there based on his pit stop.
Right, he led him to the green. And now he starts to slide back a little bit. Matt Kenseth up front. We check with Matt Yoakum.
Stewart running back in 25th. Zippy, you've been on pit road several times. The hot race car, what's the problem?
I'm not sure. It just water temperature gets up in that 255 range. We can't get it. We can get it down, but we can't keep it down. So we've just been taking every opportunity we can, put fresh cool water in and make sure we don't have any air bubbles in the system. We just put some stop leak in there, pull some tape off, check the ductwork. So we're just going to keep, every chance we get, we'll just keep working on it so that we can make it to the end there.
I know your driver is concerned. He doesn't want to cook the motor. This could be semi-good day points-wise.
Well, yeah, right now we just got to worry about finishing. Some Depot Chevrolet, we need to keep it up there, do the best we can with it, and hopefully we can bring it home.
Right now he's running in the 25th position. Guys.
And that is the last car on the lead lap on board with Tony Stewart. Take a look at the championship standings as we run here at Talladega. 7 races remain after this.
Ryan Newman has a good lead on Rusty Wallace. Stewart 57 back. Johnson 61. Kenseth 69. Man, is it close.
Wallace has had trouble. Stewart, Johnson, Biffle is coming back out on the track. Mark Martin's day is over.
And Mayfield is still out there. And Kurt Busch, currently where he is, has gained a lot of points. Number 29 car, Kevin Harvick, currently in 11th, and Sadler 64 points behind him.
McMurray's in that race, and he's had a strong car. Carl Edwards has moved his way up to 10th.
And that's what Carl told me this morning, that somehow, someway, he wanted to see the checkered flag today. I mean, everyone did, but he was certainly not going to do anything to prevent that. Around here, you don't have to do anything. Trouble will find you at this racetrack.
There's Greg Biffle, but for Carl Edwards, I think it's a different story. Not a lot of experience at this track. He certainly has fought for what could be considered his 3 toughest races once this one is over. Let's check with Marty.
Well, Matt Kenseth out front by virtue of taking fuel only on their last stop. Matt loves the car. Remember earlier we told you he wanted to see if it would run better out front than it does pushing. He said, absolutely, I love being out front much better, and I like my teammate, the number 97, right behind me, Matt.
2 tires in the last stop for the 97. Unfortunately, now this morning, Marty, I walked through their garage. I noticed on the nose it was already beat in. I asked the crew member where'd that come from. He said that was from pushing our teammate, the 17, in practice. In BP, they've got 3 bars and boilerplate welded together to snipping up that nose. Dave?
12 car Brian Newman in that outside file, still trying to lead at least 1 lap here to get those 5 bonus points. Getting a push on the outside line right now. Temperatures have gone back to normal on that car. Last pit stop, no changes on the chassis. 12 cars as good as it's been all day.
Ryan Newman in the 12. How about that 97 front end, BP?
Well, there again, and one reason that they have to have those front ends so strong is if they do happen to bend them, then you destroy the airflow going over the bumper, the car starts overheating. But if they knew that if they touched someone, the car would overheat, I think they wouldn't get up there and push as much as they do now.
100 to go here at Talladega. Matt Kenseth, in the race for the championship, leads the UAW Ford 500.
By Sony. Transform the way you watch racing with Sony, the world's greatest high-definition television. By Wrangler, makers of Wrangler Jeans Company, a new generation of Wrangler. By Yamaha ATVs, ain't nothing tougher than a Yamaha. And by Banquet Crockpot Classics, more of what you want.
Still working the 6th caution of the day here at Talladega. Here is a look at how the Koch family of drivers are performing. Big one right there, Tony Stewart up to 11. Kurt Busch just brought out the caution. These guys not having a good day.
No, they aren't.
Michael Waltrip out early.
In spectacular fashion. Michael flipped a couple of times, done in turn 1.
Ricky Rudd came in 8th, fuel only stop. He's the 17th different leader of the day. Casey Kane right behind him.
Oh, lap 94, that's halfway. Man,
drivers involved in the chase for the championship. Jimmy Johnson is 28 laps down right now. He's been involved in a couple of crashes. Rusty Wallace right now, 4 laps down.
He was in second place when we started today.
Ryan Newman currently leads the championship standings and runs in the top 5. Mark Martin out of the race early in that multi-car crash. Tony Stewart has led 8 laps today, is on the lead lap right now, running 11th last time by.
Greg Biffle, and see Jimmy Johnson trying to come back on the racetrack. He was involved in the 65-lap crash. He's back on the track, currently in the 29th position. Jeremy Mayfield has led a lap. He's still on the racetrack.
Carl Edwards has had a very quiet day, has run up in the top 10. Matt Kenseth has run at the front of the field, and Kurt Busch just brought out the caution after cutting a tire.
These last 3 races for Kurt Busch has been a nightmare. He crashed up in Loudon last week, short pitted, caution flag caught him, then he had a flat tire, got caught speeding, and today the right front tire goes flat.
So Busch still on the lead lap. In the 25th position, more on Kurt Busch, Matt.
What more, Matt?
BP, there's a lot more, and it's not good news if you're a Kurt Busch fan. I just spoke with Jimmy Finning. He says something is bent, a lower A-frame. Something is bent on that car. They're just hoping to keep it up at minimum speed and get the best they can out of this bad day.
How about that? Of course, you normally see a lot of lead changes as plate races. Unless Junior's in it, there's only one lead change when he takes it.
Yeah. Out front. Sterling on his bumper. I think Newman's been trying to work his way back up there, but he really hasn't had any drafting help on the bottom, so he moved up to the top lane. Now he's got Scott Webber in the 22 behind him.
Matt Kenseth on his side. Kenseth with no friends right now. Might find one right here.
42 squeezes down underneath Casey Kane. And the 9 car. Now the 42's down on the bottom where he hasn't liked that race car. He likes it up on the high side.
Ryan Vickers in the 25. There's the 12, Newman. There are 25 cars on the lead lap. From 1st to 24th, 2.9 seconds. We'll take a break. When we come back, we will take you through the field at Talladega. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Green here at Talladega. Matt Kenseth trying to pull his line to the front. Here's the Team Tylenol safety pack. Those cells are composed of a soft, flame-resistant platter filled with foam to reduce fuel sloshing and the chance of an explosion in the event of a crash. They have done their job today.
Yes, they have. A job well done by the fuel cells.
These guys can stop testing that anytime. That's about 4 wide, yes.
Careful, boys, careful.
Time to go through the field, presented by Speed Pass from Exxon and Mobil. And here at Talladega, it's more like around the field. Dave Burns.
Ryan Newman finally leading laps and gaining bonus points this morning. His luck started early when in the inspection line, car chief Alex Query found a very small cut in the right rear tire of their car. Just doing his job, he pointed it out to NASCAR officials. They agreed that they should change that tire before the race. And we've already seen what small cuts can do on this fast racetrack. Marty?
Well, Dave, coming into today, Matt Kenseth was 9th in the championship, trailing by 124. He's very aware of the other people behind him having problems or ahead of him in the championship standings. They made no changes on the last stop. Matt loves the car, likes it especially when it's out front. His teammate Carl Edwards doing an outstanding job. In 3rd position right now, Bobby Hudson, his spotter's the best coach in the world. He's saying, Carl, you're doing a terrific job, buddy. He wants to work to the middle lane. Obviously, we're in single file now, but when we're in traffic, he says, I want to be in that middle lane, Dave.
Brian Vickers having a very good run in a former Jimmy Johnson car. His teammate, they rebodied and repainted that car as the 25, and he's been having good success on only taking right side tires, making him into play later. Alan?
Dale Jarrett started second, dropped back in the field, mostly in that trouble avoidance mode. Dale saying he has a very good race car. He thinks he can win. He just needs to be there at the the finish. Ricky Rudd took fuel only on his last stop to get himself some track position, led for a little while. His crew chief, Fatback McTwain, says if the day gets really hot and the track gets slick, that'll play to their advantage. It's pretty warm right now, Matt.
Sterling Marlin running into 7th position. He's won here twice. His final race working with Tony Glover. They've had so much success on the plate tracks through the years. 2 tires on the last stop. Meanwhile, Chase driver Tony Stewart has worked his way back up to 8th. He's overcome a lot of problems today, trying to get that car back to the point. There are more laps led. Marty?
That a bit of small concern for Jamie McMurray's team. We saw some smoke earlier when he came off turn 2. Actually, they think they have a plastic bag of some sort stuck up underneath the right front of the car. That's where the smoke is coming from. Jamie, very committed to that high line still. He dropped back earlier, gave up about 15 positions so he could get in position on that top line. Cannot stand the bottom of the racetrack, Dave.
Good run today for Casey Kane in his 4th start here at Talladega. All day long, the notes on his car, no changes, no changes, no changes. He runs in that 2nd pack. Marty?
Scott Wimmer is doing a terrific job today, Dave. Remember, he finished 3rd in one of his first restrictor plate races at Daytona in the 500. He came on the radio earlier and said, we've had 2 close calls, and we missed both of them. I love the way the car is handling, much better than it was earlier today. Matt?
Dave Blaney restarted 19th, now up to 12th. Earlier, he said the cockpit was filling up with smoke, wasn't sure what the issue was. That's gone away. Then he felt like he had a right front tire going down. Turns out he had a slow leak in the left front. Meanwhile, the 01 in Nemechek, who's finished 13th, 31st, and 15th in the plate races this year, is having a solid run, trying to work his way back up to the front. AB?
Martin Truex Jr. used some strategy and a decent race car to get up front and run with the leaders. He called in on the radio and said, hey, run up front's fun out here. Long pit stop last time, though, overheating. They wanted to get the car cooled down, Marty.
Alan Travis Quapple has done a wonderful job. He flat-sided the right side of the car earlier, making contact with the wall under that 2nd caution. The car has been great, and they've done a good job of getting him back up through the field, handling very well. Ken Schrader doing a good job, too. He finished top 10 when we were here back in May. The seat for Schrader not doing such a good job. Very hot. They poured water on it earlier, and since the water's gotten a little too hot for Schrader's backside. Now we're going to talk about which car today are Jet Green. You see the right front damage? How about this for these guys? They got right front damage earlier. They have repaired it, and the car has come back up through the field running very well right now, Alan.
Just a few laps ago, Kevin Harvick's spotter called him on the radio and said, hey, some of these guys that are passing you, they've got wreck damage. Is there anything wrong? Kevin said, have you seen what's happened today? These guys just don't realize how many laps there are left in this thing. Dave?
Jeremy Mayfield's crew has worked on that left rear fender damage. The crush panels were actually separated from the outside fender, so they had to do some taping underneath that fender. So far, it's held together. They've had to adjust the chassis to react to it, and just told Jeremy, you got to drive it the way it is. Matt?
Mike Wallace in the 4 car rounding out the top 20. The car was tight earlier. He's been going back and forth between Bobby Labonte for that 20th position. Labonte's car, fuel only in the last stop. He was tight. AB.
Tony Raines has soldiered on through a couple of contact incidents on the racetrack. Got a little nicked up in one of the earlier wrecks, but he's hanging on there in the lead lap. Started 43rd. You see he's in 22nd. Says his car is not driving back.
Another guy hanging out at the back is the 32 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. He's just hanging out back there with the 7 of Gordon, the 97 of Busch. What's up with Robbie, Marty?
Robbie Gordon trying to soldier his way through some problems that started very early today in the 7 car. He said one of the fender braces that holds up the windshield, the rivets started coming out of it. They were going to bolt them back in or rivet them back in during a caution. They decided not to do that. They have been struggling with a race car that just will not turn all afternoon long. Matt?
Now, we've been documenting Kurt Busch's issues. Now, nothing recent about that right front suspension issue that we were talking about earlier. He's just trying to hold on like several other drivers, just trying to make the most of this day. His brother, the 5, right behind him.
And his brother in the 5 car is 21 laps down.
Whoa, Jamie McMurray was... yeah, he was. I don't know if he was getting pushed by the 07 of Blaney or what, but he had that tail hanging out.
Caution for debris on the backstretch. Caution is out.
And you've seen all these cut tires today, that's why. And that is a big piece of debris.
Oh, you got a lot of race cars out there that are taped together right now, too. And at this speed, it just blows the tape off and then blows the bodywork off.
So 108 laps are complete.
DJ run over it.
Matt Kenseth and Carl Edwards. Right there, running 1, 2, 3. Tony Stewart in 8th. Jeremy Mayfield in 17th. Kurt Busch, 25th, the last car on the lead lap.
Pit road's closed. Pit road's closed.
Pit road is closed this time. We'll get in a break. You're watching the NASCAR Nextel Cup chase for the championship. Cars on pit road. Marty Snyder.
Well, Bill, the 17 team has not made an adjustment to this car since the first stop of the day, and they will make none on this stop. 4 tires. Matt?
Tony Stewart said they're going to go left side tires on this stop. No changes. He says the water had leveled out at 238.
The 12 car will take on 4 tires, slight chassis adjustment, little tape on the car, little tight right now. Alan.
Middle of the triple block, Dale Jarrett going to take on 4 tires, was running in 5th at the time of the caution. Happy with the balance of his race car. Going to keep it that way by taking all 4 fresh tires.
There's the race off of pit road. And you can see another mixed bag of pit road strategy here at Talladega. Long way to go in this one. We'll see what happens. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Still under caution. Take a look at our Little Debbie lap leaders. 6 of the 10 chasers have led today. That's 5 bonus points. Jamie McMurray, the most laps led today. 26. Our Little Debbie lap leaders.
And McMurray in that 42 car is back in front once again.
With a 2-tire stop. There's Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth, Jamie McMurray. How would you like to beat Jeff Burton out there at Talladega driving that?
Tell you one thing, he's not going to be doing any bump drafting on that car, is he? Because the radiator would be the bumper.
And Jeff is 34th. He is 15 laps behind the next car he would have to catch, and that's Jimmy Johnson, who's still in the race. Granted, 29 laps down. All right, here we go. Jamie McMurray. Popular pick in the garage this morning, and so is that 20 car, Tony Stewart. Matt said there are heating problems, maybe history. We'll find out. Back to green at Talladega.
Cars about an entire lap to get up to full speed.
The Houston Astros have clinched the National League wild card, beating the Cubs 6-4. So the Red Sox and the Astros into the Major League playoffs for the wild card. And this is our wild card in the 10-race chase for the championship. Talladega. Those guys would love to stay like that until about 3 to go.
What you work for is trying to stay single file, and you hope to break away from the guys in your mirror.
But someone is going to get greedy and want to lead or run 4th or run 5th or a position in front of them.
As soon as you pull out or another car pulls out, it's like a big parachute. And those cars behind you will catch you in a hurry.
Marty Snyder on Jamie McMurray.
And he's back up front where the 42 car likes to be mostly up front today. And they had a debate about whether to take 2 or 4 on that stop. Jamie wanted to take 4 so that they could possibly take 2 tires later in the race. But Donnie Wingo said, you know what, the car is very loose. Let's just take on 2 right now. I think that will be the best thing for us. And Donnie won. They took on the 2 tires, got the track position back that they wanted, and now they're out front where they've been most of the day.
And you know, the Autism Society of America are happy because McMurray pays $10 for every lap that he leads. And this year, 2005 has been a very dismal year, but they're finally seeing some bucks from Jamie this year. Oh, battle for the second position.
Kenseth down on the bottom. Newman right behind Matt Kenseth.
Well, you said they'd get impatient.
Well, of course they are.
And like you said, the rest of them now joins the group as these cars get side by side, and Ricky Rudd gives Tony Stewart a shot in the back bumper.
And see how much that shot Tony Stewart past the guys he was racing? I mean, it's like he just grabbed another gear.
Yep.
And that's why the bump drafting is so popular here.
And Jamie McMurray's in the last place you want to be. The middle. Can go down low.
He's got Sterling Marlin. If Marlin can get up there and bump draft him before they get to the corner, he's trying.
Tony Stewart back in front.
See, and it just shoots him right back up.
3 wide behind Stewart. Matt?
Bill, this particular car, you saw a little bit of smoke come out of the left front of the 17. This particular car for Stewart loves to be out front. 9 races in its career. It's led 290 laps. He finally has that fresh air that he wanted earlier. But boy, what a race behind him as he decides which lane he wants to go to. Now it's to the bottom.
Carl Edwards had made that dive on the inside. The backstretch looks like he picked up a spot or 2. Marty, about the 99, what's he saying?
Well, he's trying to make up a little bit, BP, for his pit stop. He came in, overshot his pits, and then they couldn't get the car up all the way on the right side, so the Jackman had to give it 4 or 5 bumps. A long stop for the 99 team. They've told Carl, forget about it. Remember, we have a great race car. You've got a teammate up there that you've worked well with in the 17 car. Stick with him. Let's finish this race.
Still 3 wide, 4 or 5 deep.
Tony Stewart is loving this. He's out by himself, and as long as these guys run 3 wide, they can't catch him.
But he's got to be careful. If they hit single file or leaving 2 by 2, they can really have a run on him, and he could lose 10 spots in 1 lap. So he doesn't want to get out too far front.
Allen?
Ricky Rudd in his 58th Talladega race here, Bill. He's never won here. His car, he said just before that last pit stop, the best it's been all day. They took 4 tires. He's feeling a little racy.
Well, looks like he's about to lose a spot to Sterling Marlin.
You saw that car of Jeff Burton out on the track? It's back in the garage now.
I would think so.
118 laps complete here at Talladega. Tony Stewart out front. Complete lap 121 of 188 here at Talladega. 25 cars on the lead lap, 2.8 seconds from first to 24th. Stewart, Jamie McMurray, Ryan Newman, Sterling Marlin.
Every time that 17 car, Matt Kenseth, goes through 1 and 2, he hits that bump, and the left front tire rubs the fender and puts on a puff of smoke.
Been a tough day for several drivers here at Talladega. A big one. We've had a couple of them. And naturally, when you race here, some guys love it and some guys don't. Here are some of the driver reactions from guys that are, well, basically out of the picture today.
I just want to say one thing. The fans are the only one that can do anything about this. No one else can. The drivers can't. The owners can't. And NASCAR's not going to do anything about it. So, you know, I doubt the fans can't either, but they can sure try.
I think it's in the driver's hands. I mean, we're the only ones that can really prevent our front bumper from driving us back over the car in front of us.
I'm going to tell you something. If they don't calm down, that won't be the last one. Everybody's driving 20 feet over their head and doing a lot of stupid stuff. And everybody needs to catch their breath. If not, it won't be the last one.
So the rules put the drivers in this situation where you have to run around here in a huge pack. And those are some of the reactions from some of the guys.
The restrictor plate that you showed the fans in the pre-race show today, Bill, it reduces the horsepower. It cuts the horsepower in half. It goes from 900 or 800 to around 450 horsepower. So no one can get away from anybody. You don't have power to drive away from someone. If they took that restrictor plate off, these cars would run 220 miles per hour, which is way too unsafe. So this is result. And Mark Martin, he said the fans are the only people that can do anything about it. He's evidently talking about the fans lobbying the racetracks to change the rules or they'll quit buying tickets.
Right.
And I think the fans love this kind of race.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I think the fans do like it. It's exciting racing. And I like what Jeff Gordon said. I mean, it's in the driver's hands. I mean, you don't have to drive like an idiot. You know, you can avoid trouble if you just use your head. And a lot of this stuff that happened today started at way too early. Normally this happens, but it doesn't happen until you start really racing for positions and it gets towards the end of the race. It's been since the green flag dropped.
Do you think Gordon was also alluding to how much work they've done on the front end of these cars to strengthen them as well?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, there's no question about it. I mean, he BP brought up the point earlier that you take those bumpers away, front and back, they're not going to be pounding on each other. But this is the way this racing is set up. You have to be defensive. You have to mirror drive. You have to beat the guy's bumper in front of you to get anywhere, and it gets ugly.
Marty, well, you guys talk about reinforcing these front bumpers. This is the backup bumper for Matt Kenseth, if you will. There's a big bar right here in the front of it. They put in extra, and this piece of steel goes all the way through the front of the bumper to protect the front bumper in case they make contact with anyone. That is reinforcing the bumper. This is a big piece of steel they have in the front of this race car.
And they really brace up behind that, Marty. I mean, that's just some of it. But the really strong brace pieces are on the car, such as the back of Greg Biffle's car, BP.
See, this bumper, this piece of steel on the back, that's for the rear bumper on the 16 car, but they have something not that strong, but something similar to that behind the front bumper, so they can go up and hit someone and not damage the front bumper.
Tony Stewart's front bumper is in front of everybody at Talladega. Jamie McMurray and the rest of the field chasing smoke. Right at the start-finish line. Just kidding. We are under caution. Debris in turn 3. A simple debris caution.
Yeah.
And they're coming to pit road.
No big crash. Now then, what they do this pit stop really sets up because they only have to make one more stop after this.
I would say 4.
I say most cars will change 4, and that last stop, definitely 2 tires.
You have to assume the next stop's going to come under green, so you want to do as much work as you can under caution.
You always set it up for, coming in under green for the last pit stop.
All right, Marty. Bill, that's exactly the strategy for Jamie McMurray's team. Take 4 tires now so that later in the race, because that pit stop could be under green, we'll take 2 tires at that point. McMurray said his car is very good, just not as good as Tony Stewart's car. A little too loose, so they're going to take a half pound out of the right rear tire, and that's it. Matt?
Stewart eased into his pit box as to not flat spot the left side tires. He's full of fuel and away. Dave.
And Newman will take 2 tires. No adjustments to the car. It was pretty slick that time, he said, in a good way. AB?
Dale Jarrett said he fell back during that last run because he lost the nose for a minute, then got it back, said the car's really pretty good. They'll take 4 tires. He said, I'm still just riding.
Well, I'm surprised at some of that strategy.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah, I am too. I really am shocked that a lot of these guys did not change Ford.
Dale Jarrett's going to drive the truck. Right now he's driving his Ford, trying to get to the front at Talladega. Again, for the guys in the chase for the Nextel Cup, it got off to a rough start. Jimmy Johnson into the back of Elliott Sadler. Johnson, Mark Martin. Wild ride for Michael Waltrip.
That's Waltrip in the 15 car, and Mark Martin's day was over.
Jimmy Johnson in the first crash, then cut a left rear tire. Then Greg Biffle, Rusty Wallace in this multi-car crash. And that's Scott Riggs in the 10 car with a very wild ride. Johnson out of the car. They've worked on it. Put him back out there. There's Kurt Busch, defending series champion, another guy in the chase. Cut a tire, put him into the wall. So we've got chasers running 1, 2, 3. A lot of guys have struggled. 19 leaders today, caution periods, 9 cars out of the race. And 43 lead changes.
It has been a very competitive race, there's no doubt about it. All right, Tony Stewart, that 2-tire stop, was able to keep the lead.
Stewart, Kenseth, Carl Edwards, Ryan Newman, 2 tires. Ricky Rudd in the 21 car, fuel only on their pit stops. Takes a lap or so for these cars to get up to full speed.
And Jamie McMurray with those 4-tire stop came out in 8th position. You know, I've always liked this Aflac question. So don't you think it's time? We haven't seen that all day. Oh, we got a battle for the lead there.
Ryan Newman falls in behind Matt Kenseth.
Looks like they're teaming up on poor old defenseless Tony.
Well, they know how strong that car is now. You'll hope that guy in. Marty.
Bill, the 17 car, very good. And for the first time today, it was loose on the last run. So when they came in, they only took 2 tires that time, and they put took out a half pound of the right rear tire for Matt Kenseth, trying to make the car a little bit better. They also made a wedge adjustment. And again, it loves that front and the clean air, loves to lead.
Drivers love to lead.
Newman's got something hanging out the left rear, right behind the left rear tire. I can't see what it is. Something's flopping out there.
Put our best guys on it, our camera crew.
Part of the body work is hung out there.
That's a parachute, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every little bit matters on the body. Dave?
Listening to him right now, Bill, they have not talked about this yet, but you know what? I bet if we show it on camera for a few more laps, they will be.
Newman in a Dodge. That's the Dodge of Sterling Marlin right behind him. Kenseth in a Ford in the 17 car.
And Tony Stewart in that inside line back in front of Kenseth. I don't know if it means that the 12 car isn't fast enough to push the 17 or exactly what it does mean. But here comes McMurray in that 42.
And Dale Jarrett on 4 tires in the 88. 4 fresh tires.
It didn't take long for McMurray to get back up to the front of the pack.
Benny, don't beat around the bush.
Come on, folks, down the truck. Cue the duck. What do you have for us this week?
Our Aflac trivia question. The only driver to win the Daytona 500 and both Talladega races in the same season.
Both Talladega races.
I bet you got to go back a long way for this one.
Buddy Baker? I don't know.
Okay, the suspense is just, there you go. Pete Hamilton. First year they had 2 races here.
And he won both of them. I knew that he won the Daytona 500 in one of these.
Driving for
Richard Petty.
Yep. Petty Enterprises. Our Aflac trivia question.
That was a good one.
Newman's down on the low side with no friends to help him, and he's going to lose spot after spot until somebody does get up on his bumper.
Here comes the cavalry.
And they all see Newman down on the low side. They want to just pass him. They don't really want to help him. But now Casey Kane's got no place to go, so he's forced to get on the bumper and help the 12 car.
I guess I'll help you.
But not for long.
They're not happy about it.
Nope.
The 88 car, Dale Jarrett, has fallen way back.
I'm not sure if he's fallen back or decided to just drop on back. How about it, Alan?
Did you just use the phrase drop on back there,
Yes,
Bill?
sir.
I think you hit it right on the head. He's just not interested in getting up in the middle of that mess yet. There's still too many laps to go, and he's that confident in the strength of this car to charge to the front in the final lap.
Alan, I think he got the 4 tires, ran a lap or 2 to see how good it was going to be, and then decided I'm going to wait back here for a while.
Well, their strategy all day, Bill, has been to stay up front if you can, but if he starts to get shuffled, let him go. Not worry about it.
And once again, the 88 car has an engine in there today that, in fact, does have a little more horsepower than the 17 car, the 99 car. They're trying to get ready for the Daytona 500 in February, so they came with an engine that may or may not be reliable, but it does produce more horsepower.
And all those engines come out of the same shop, the Yates-Roush engine shop. So basically the 88 and some of those other cars experimenting for the Daytona 500.
What a perfect place to do it. A 500-mile race at Talladega.
Well, Tony Stewart, former series champion in the chase for the Nextel Cup in 05. Story of a man named Earl. He's done things that he's not proud of, but now he's on a quest to repair everything he's ever done wrong. Find out which bad deed he tackles next. My name is Earl. Tuesday at 9, 8 Central on NBC. You related to him?
I couldn't repair everything I've done wrong, so not about me.
Top 9 cars tried to break away. Those guys in the back roped him in.
Yeah, those pesky rascals, they helped him again. I'll tell you what, Jamie McMurray is 42. He really wants to get on the outside of Tony Stewart, but just can't quite get it worked out.
Let's go in and around the field, starting with Matt on the 20.
And Bill, back at Sonoma, Tony Stewart found a flag down in San Francisco. Now they're hanging on their pit box since Sonoma. They've had great runs. It says the beatings will continue until morale improves. They keep it up there to remind themselves of where their season was before the streak began. He's out front, the water temperature around 210. It's good, and the car very fast.
Well, Matt, believe it or not, coming into today, Jamie McMurray had led only one lap this entire season. Today, he's led 30. You think he's hungry? He hasn't won in 104 races since he first started back at Charlotte. He came on the radio, told the guys, this is the best shot we have had to win all year long. Let's keep this car up front. Matt Kenseth, though, thinks the 20 car is the one to beat. He said the stuff he can do by himself is unbelievable. Kenseth's car, very good. He's finished 11th and 9th in his last 2 plate races. Matt?
Sterling Marlin hasn't won since Darlington back in 2002. 123 races ago, 2 tires in the last stop. He is just riding, hoping to have one more shot at a Talladega victory. Snyder?
Bob Osborne told me about the chase races that he was worried about. He said, you know, New Hampshire, Dover, and Talladega. And unfortunately, those are the first 3 races in the chase for Carl Edwards. He cleared the first 2 hurdles today, clearing this hurdle so far, having a very nice top 5 run. Alan?
The NASCAR Busch Series Championship leader Martin Truex Jr. is running this race to learn what they need to work on to compete when they go full-time Nextel Cup racing next year. I'd say 6th place is competing pretty well. Ricky Rudd took fuel only on his pit stop a few moments ago. His crew chief Pat McSwain said, still got to make one more stop. And then he told his driver on the radio, keep your foot on the floor and stay in line.
Matt, pulled some tape off the grill of the 01 car, was running warm, 4 tires in the last stop. He too just riding along, very quiet on the radio, while the 97 of Kurt Busch isn't quiet. He's been talking for quite a while. He says, I have a drafting machine. Dude, this is awesome. They pitted twice to try to set the toe earlier when they had that issue with the wall. Now the car, very good.
They have told Ryan Newman about that left rear quarter panel flapping in the breeze. He also has a little hole in the right front headlight area of the car. It may be slowing the car down, maybe not. He poked his car out a couple of laps ago and passed about 4 cars on his own. Matt?
The only real issue the 07 of Blaney has now, Dave, the car on restarts takes about 3 laps to 4 laps to get up to speed. Neutral, no changes on their last stop.
Matt, just talked to Brian Vickers' crew chief, Lance McGrew. He told me they've worked some of the tightness out of that car, and they expect Brian to make a charge toward the front before this thing is over. Matt?
Well, while Tony Stewart's up front, his teammate Bobby Labonte having a very solid run as well. Now, he said the car earlier was tight. They've been going back and forth between 2 tires on the right, 2 tires on the left. Nothing lately. Alan?
I just talked to Dale Jarrett's crew chief, Todd Parrott. He said his driver is being very smart. Their car is very strong, and there's still a long way to go. Doesn't seem very worried, Dave.
Casey Kane had one of those unusual strategies on the last stop. 2 left side tires only. Crew chief Tommy Baldwin told us, well, that was so bad. On the final stop, we can change 2 tires, and they can be those 2 right side tires. We did it for track position. Alan?
Well, Kevin Harvick's team keeps saying they've got a great race car, but he just doesn't seem to get up front. I talked to both Richard Childress, the team owner, and today's crew chief, Gil Martin, with very relaxed smiles. They both told me, not worried. Long way to go. Marty?
Well, Scott Rimmer having a very solid day. Alan, currently he's in the 17th position. They have made no changes to the chassis since the first stop of the day. Wimmer loves the way the car drives. He does like it on the top, however, and he said, you know what, if we get in a 2-wide situation late in the race, help me get up there. I do not like the bottom of the racetrack. Ken Schrader trying to follow up his top 10 from here in May, running 18th right now. He said, you know, the car's okay, a little hard to hold on to. We just don't have the speed that I would like right now. Dave?
Same story on speed, Marty, for the 19 car of Jeremy Mayfield. They made a 4-tire change on the last stop, made no chassis adjustments, just lacking a little bit of that forward motion, Matt.
And Dave, talking about the 32 car, Bobby Hamilton Jr. rounding out your top 20. What a weekend they've had trying to secure this ride to get into the race. The car on the neutral side, he's just hanging in the draft, Bill.
Thanks, guys. The top 20 here at Talladega. Mike Wallace, Jeff Green, Kyle Petty, Travis Kvapil, Tony Raines, and Robbie Gordon also on the lead lap. All chasing Tony Stewart at Talladega. And all over the world. Get ready, because on Monday, something's coming to the surface. Surface, Mondays, 8, 7 Central on NBC. Tony Stewart up front. At 151 of 160 laps at Daytona in July. Got his first plate win. 4 second-place finishes here.
even with the troubles that he's had today, and Tony has had some problems with overheating, and my hat's off to Greg Zipadelli and this crew spending all the time they did in the pit area to get this problem fixed, put in water in the car. And it looks like he's going to lead the most laps if he keeps going.
And you know what that means, don't you?
5 more points.
Yep.
But I think now's when the deal making just gets started with guys like McMurray and Kenseth and Sterling Marlin on who's going with who and when and where.
Jamie McMurray had led 1 lap before today. That was under caution. Today he has led 30. So a good day for McMurray in the 42.
Matt?
Well, Bill, when you look at this 20 team and how they have really worked the cautions and this overheating issue that the 20 car has been experiencing most of the day, now the water's leveled off at about 200 to 210 degrees. But when you look at Tony Stewart's restrictor plate racing, survivability is what we talked about at the beginning of the show. The last 7 plate races, he has finished every single lap. That's pretty amazing.
Sure is.
Wow. 7 finished every lap. That seems to be. When we started this race today, we talked about Jimmy Johnson. He's never finished a fall race here at Talladega.
34th and 37th twice for Jimmy Johnson. Runs 33rd right now.
Marty? Well, for most of the day, Jamie McMurray's car has been tight, but earlier, Sterling Marlin, his teammate, bump drafted him, said it was one of the hardest hits he ever took. What they think has now happened, though, that may have bent the rear end of Jamie's car because his car all of a sudden now is loose. So on their next stop, they're talking about taking a pound out of the right rear tire to try and tighten that car up just a little bit. And here's the replay of Sterling hitting Jamie, and you see it, the boost it gave him. But this happened to Jimmy Johnson yesterday in happy hour. It was maybe too much of a boost, and it may have bent the rear end of the car. They will take 2 tires on their last stop in 9 laps.
And Marty, these cars have to maintain a certain height in the rear of these cars. And NASCAR told them this morning, it doesn't matter if your car gets hit from behind and knocked down. It's your responsibility to have it at right height when it comes back to the inspection area tonight.
So in other words, they have to fix it now. They can't do it after the checkered flag.
Exactly. They got to fix it now.
That's the 20 pit. Matt, what do you got?
Well, Mike Brill, who's the car chief on the 42 car, McMurray down talking to Zippy about what lap they would like to pit on. Right now, it's around lap 161 to 162.
Matt, we've been green since lap 132, so that's 22 laps. That's the longest stretch of green flag racing today, and they're probably going to try and go to 35 or so.
Well, he's talking about, when you say when he stopped earlier? 128?
132 is when we went to green.
So it sounds like they're short pitting. They could probably go to 170. Alan, what are they sending down on your end?
Hey, BP, what about taking the number of laps left in the race and just dividing it in 2 and making your pit stop then? I think that's why these guys are maybe stopping a little bit shyer of when they could actually stretch the final fuel number 2.
That sounds like what they're trying to do. But there again, what does Tony do on that final stop? There we see the Joe Nemechek crew up there talking to Zippy, trying to figure out what they're going to do.
And the biggest thing is they want to come in with the leader because they want to lead with the leader so they don't lose a draft. You don't want to have 8 cars come in and then you not come in because you'll lose a draft if you come in and pit by yourself. And that's the thing that all these guys worry about now. They're all friendly now. The deals will be different, with 5 to go.
Tony Stewart has led 47 laps today. Wants to lead the last one at Talladega. Pull off a Daytona Talladega summer sweep. We'll see what happens. Talladega, Tony Stewart leads. Green flag pit stops. Kevin Harvick on pit road.
2 tires, don't slide them.
His teammates down there too, Matt.
Dave Blaney smoked him on the pit road, Bill, as the 4-car waltzes away. It's going to be a 4-tire change for Blaney. Alan.
Right sides only for Kevin Harvick. Crew Chief Gil Martin admonishing Kevin, don't slide the front tires when you come onto pit road. There he goes.
And that's why the 07 car had to change 4 tires, because he locks them up getting on the pit road.
And he's pretty much going to lose the draft now.
Because these guys, when you come down pit road, the goal is to leave pit road together.
Yep.
Got to have somebody to run with.
Yell Jerry.
Jarrett's in.
Ken Schrader. 88 has to come all the way down pit road at 55 miles per hour. And something we got to watch for, Benny, is these guys having trouble getting onto pit road, slowing down from 180 to 55 miles per hour. AB.
Waiting to see if Todd Parrott calls for a 2-tire stop or a 4-tire stop. They go around to the right side of the car. They have a second set of tires up on the wall. But I don't see anybody in a hurry to go for him. Just right side tires for Dale Jarrett and Fuel.
But he leaves with nobody. And he's a sitting duck out here because he's the only car that left pit lane. He's got nobody to draft with.
All by himself. Tony Raines and Ken Schrader are coming off of pit road now, but they are way back there. And here come the fast guys. Ryan Newman and Greg Biffle. Pass-through penalty for Ken Schrader, too fast on pit road. Dave Burns.
Wow, a big time. That was interesting between the 16 and the 12 trying to get to their pit stalls, but 2 left side tires for the 12. He took right sides last time. We'll see if the 19 as well. Going to take 2. The 9 car and the 19 both in. Looks like Casey Kane may be the partner that the 12 car, Brian Newman, needs.
Yeah, and Newman almost has to wait for Casey Kane to get to him. Here's where it gets tricky.
Have to stay in.
Oh, and then McMurray almost ran in the back of the 20 car.
Marty.
Oh, man, Bill Dyson coming to pit road. Jamie McMurray said, how long until we pit? Because I need some tires and I'm loose. They're going to take 2 tires. This is why they took the 4 earlier. A pound on the right rear tire for McMurray. He leaves pit road. Matt.
And Stewart is already down and away. A slight wedge adjustment, left side tires.
Good thing they're only taking 2 on the 42 car because they didn't have any room between him and the pit wall.
He couldn't even get the jack in there, much less the jack handle.
Matt Kenseth also on pit road, third in line there behind Stewart and McMurray.
See, these guys are all in good shape because they're all leaving together and they got people to draft with.
Marty.
There was a lot of deal making to make sure the 17 was included in this plan, as well as Carl Edwards, his teammate behind him. Matt's car too tight. Half pound out of the right front, half pound in the right rear tire for the 17 bunch. And here comes Carl Edwards on pit road. They're going to make 2 tires, they decided finally. Carl wanted 4 tires. He said, I'm sliding through the corners, guys. If you can give me 4, that would help. They said, you know what, if we take 4, we'll be the only ones. So they decided on 2. Dave.
2 also for Brian Vickers in the 25 car. The car will not turn from the center to the corner off. They will make a wedge adjustment for Brian Vickers. Matt.
Dave, the 97 Busch, he is away. 2 tires for the Roush team.
He follows Vickers off of pit road. There's Edwards in front of him.
Kurt Busch has made an unbelievable comeback after brushing the wall off turn 4 when the right front tire went flat.
Black flag, Greg Biffle for passing on the left on pit road. Dave.
Bill, that's the reaction I had when they were coming down pit road. Coming down pit road, the 12 car was definitely ahead. And then it was as if Biffle wanted to sort of pressure him because their pit stalls are right next to each other. And as he got by the rear end of the 12 car, that's how the penalty was incurred.
It looked like he was blocking him, or at least that was the intent.
It was weird with Biffle being so far off the pace.
Remember the conversation with Greg Biffle, the interview after he was in his car?
Yes.
I'm going to come next lap.
He blamed the 12 car for him being in that position. So that was just his way of somehow telling the 12 car, I remember.
Greg Biffle doesn't forget. Stewart leads.
Here, watch Biffle. He'll pull to the left of the 12 car. Obviously, you can't do this on pit lane. He pulls up to him, and he gets next to him. Obviously, somebody's speeding.
You have to come in single file. Yeah.
I mean, right to the door, past the door.
File that one away.
But like BP said, that's just a message being sent.
And the message was delivered. So Stewart
and these guys have got
right.
Yeah, they've got a gap all because of the pits. Either somebody didn't get in as well, or get off the pit lane as well, or had problems in the pit stop. But those 4 did it perfect.
So these guys need to get in line, go get Carl Edwards in front of them, and then then go catch the front four.
Right. They have to get
tires ready, guys.
They have to get single file.
No, go around. Keep going. Keep going.
Or they will not catch that front group.
That was Biffle doing his pass-through penalty for passing on the left on pit road. This is the group that needs to get in line. The longer the line, the faster you go. Big Burns.
And you mentioned the 12-car Brian Newman having to sort of wait if he wanted to for Casey Kane, but he couldn't do that, so he essentially left pit road by himself. They've now told the one of Martin Truex Jr., get behind us and we can catch that pack in front of us. And looks like Carl Edwards has let them catch up to him, and that pack now is the one that has to catch, Bill.
Thanks, Dave. Carl Edwards did lead a lap, got 5 bonus points. Our last green flag commercial break. We'll come back to Talladega. Everybody chasing Tony Stewart. The premiere week on USA Network tonight. See the greatest moments in WWE wrestling history on Raw Exposed. Then tomorrow night, don't miss the biggest homecoming in wrestling, an unprecedented lineup of WWE superstars in the 3-hour live nonstop wrestling premiere of Raw. That's on USA Network.
It's a mouthful.
It is.
That's a heck of a show. See the second group here? There's a second and a third group, and if they can get hooked together, they will be able to run down the front 4 cars. But see that gap in between these two groups? That's got to go right rear going down, possibly, or
maybe an engine in the one car.
It's Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, Martin just called in, said he thought they... you're hearing some of the radio now. Thinks they broke the engine. Okay.
So that will send him.
Running good, too. He's 6th place.
Tony Stewart has clinched, leading the most laps today. 10th race of 2005, he has led the most laps. So 5 extra bonus points for Tony Stewart. That second group's coming.
Yep, now they have just about
merged,
gotten all together. But that second group now with the more cars is going to be about a couple of tenths of a second faster than the first group.
Matt?
Bill, second car in line in the second group. Bobby Labonte, now his spotter, Rick Cordell, telling him, just stay in line. Your pack is catching the lead pack. Don't jump out to try to make a move on the 12 because you'll be drop kicked back. We're sitting in a pretty decent position.
Truex Jr. to the garage. Take a look at the speeds at the line this time by. 172 laps complete in the UAW Ford 500.
I'd be surprised if the fastest lap, the fastest car didn't come out of that second group.
Yep. Kurt Busch, 193 miles per hour versus 190 for the leader.
Marty. Bill, Jamie McMurray sensed the speed in that second pack. NASA's crew, when they would catch him, Donnie Wingo, his crew chief, said, with about 10 to go, they should catch you. He also told his spotter to help him with his 17 car. He said, when he's on my right rear bumper, I can't see him. I have a big blind spot back there. If he goes high trying to pass me, let me know.
Well, those 4 guys have done a good job. Brian Newman in the party is coming.
Yeah.
They're there.
And Dale Jarrett, who had no help getting off of pit road, is at the tail end of this second group.
And Jarrett right now has got to get going.
Yes.
He only has 15 laps right now. He's got a lot of cars to pass. So once these guys start fanning out and trying to pass each other, he's going to have to make a move, Alan.
Hey, Wally, his spotter Eddie DeHunt came on the radio about 5 laps ago, and besides keeping DJ apprised on their progress, their group up toward the front 4, he said to him, it's giddy up time, we got to go.
As long as all these cars in front of him stay in line, there's very little he can do.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, he's the last car in that group. Here we go. Now we're getting anxious. And
Matt Kenseth under McMurray, but no help.
Yeah, and the thing is, these guys are going to have to work together if they're going to beat that 20 car. If you want to finish second, go ahead and follow Tony Stewart. But if you're going to beat him, 3 or 4 of these cars are going to have to hook up and try to go by.
And Kenseth, by doing that, has lost 2 positions.
Ryan Newman thinking about coming down and helping. There you see the points as they run here in the chase for the Nextel Cup. And a number of drivers have had problems today. Jimmy Johnson, Greg Biffle, Rusty Wallace. Carl Edwards has had a good day moving forward. Mark Martin out early. Kurt Busch rebounding from problems early in the race.
Now, McMurray's got to know what Nemechek is going to do. He doesn't want to make a move unless he's got some help. And this is where these guys are talking on the radio. There's a lot of chatter right now on who's going to stay with who and who's going to go with who, because I'm telling you what, McMurray can't do it alone.
Follow you wherever you go. The 99 will stay on your tail wherever you go.
That's Matt Kenseth's radio talking about his teammate Carl Edwards in the 99. Those two drivers are Roush teammates and are in the chase for the championship. Marty?
And Matt came on the radio after making that move, trying to pass everyone by himself. In essence, he said, I made it because the top was going nowhere. Let's hook up with a 99. We can go down low. And now we see cars scattering everywhere. Jamie McMurray to the lead now.
The race is on.
The race is on. And Jamie, not only did he get by the 20 car, he's back up on top where he wants to be.
Newman in the 12.
Got to be careful about this gap he's got between himself and Ryan Newman and Tony Stewart right now.
Dave Burns.
Ryan Newman, glad to see cars working that bottom side. Earlier when he went down there to try to pass cars, no one would go with him, even though it was earlier in the race, because they couldn't run that low line. Ryan now glad to see that if he does go low to pass, perhaps the 42, there may be cars that can handle him there that'll go with him.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that 42 car, McMurray is loose. That's a loose race car. He's doing a good job hanging on to that race car.
Carl Edwards thinking about going under Matt Kenseth. Might run out of room down there.
No, he said he would follow the 17.
Yeah. Sure looked like he was looking underneath him.
And Tony Stewart has dropped back to, what is that, 5th position?
Yes, sir.
And a battle with Sterling Marlin for that spot.
Kurt Busch right on his bumper.
And you see Jarrett going to hook up with Sterling Marlin.
Couple of veterans, yep. Marty.
Matt Kenseth just asked his spotter, Mike Allen, off the radio to Carl Edwards' spotter and say, listen, let's stay in line. Let's pull away from the pack behind us if we can. We'll make our move with 1 or 2 to go. I will give him a hand signal as to which way we'll go.
And that plan will work if these guys behind him keep running 2 and 3 abreast.
Well, now Tony and DJ Dale Jarrett up behind the 20 car. And we know that we feel like the 88 car is fast.
Dale Jarrett trying to close in on Tony Stewart.
Edwards has got to get a little bit closer to Matt Kenseth in order to help him. 2 car lengths in between doesn't really do much good.
I was thinking there's 10 to go at Talladega, and I still got all 4 tires.
That's a good thing.
If I could just finish now.
And just throw the checkered flag.
Right. Jamie McMurray has 1 career win.
And here's another thing you got to think about. When you're Matt Kenseth, you want to go with McMurray because you're racing Newman for the championship.
Exactly.
So
right.
here's where you have to start making decisions on, well, if I'm going to help somebody, I'm going to help somebody I'm not racing with in the chase.
Look at Dale Jarrett. He's coming, Alan.
His spotter, Eddie DeHaan, sounds like a play-by-play man at a horse racing track, Bill. Walking him around this speedway, telling him who he's racing with, trying to coach him on what moves to make, and giving him encouragement all the way. Go, go, go. Come on, let's go. Great job. It's something to listen to.
You're just putting your foot through the floor in there now, aren't you?
You're pushing hard. Really hard. Now he's got a lap or 2 now. He's got to wait for Sterling to get back up to him so he can get some help.
It's Carl Edwards in front of him. Edwards runs 5th. Jarrett in the 88, Sterling Marlin behind him.
Sterling had to get out of the throttle over in 1 and 2 because he ran up right on the 88 car. He almost ran him over. Sterling had to back off the throttle, and doing that by not hitting Dale Jarrett, he lost about 3 or 4 car lengths on that spot. So now it's going to take a little while to catch back up.
And these guys trying to work their way around some of the wounded cars out there that are significantly slower. Elliott Sadler was the pole sitter. That 38 car, he's 62 laps down. He might be waiting to see if he can help his teammate in that 88 car.
Oh, wow. Boy, oh, boy.
Ryan Newman.
Threading the needle there.
Oh, man. I don't know how they made it, but they did.
Really not how many times
Here we
they
go.
wreck here.
Here we
how
go.
many times they don't. Matt Kenseth. Right
Jay
to
McMurray
the
puts the block. You see how Lou's got it right there? But that's what these guys were talking about earlier. You have to have eyes in the back of your head when you race at this place because you're driving through the mirror as much as you are through the windshield, especially with 10 laps to go.
McMurray has a fast car. The 20 car is extremely fast. Here it comes, the 20.
With Ryan Newman thinking about going along for the ride. Newman trying to make up his mind. Kenseth or Stewart? Kenseth. For now.
Now DJ back in the hunt on the back bumper of the 20 car.
If the 88 gets help, he's going to be right there at the end.
Well, Sterling Marlin's looking pretty strong in there as well.
Sterling, that 40 car, is a teammate to the leader, Jamie McMurray.
That's who McMurray's looking for right now. Where's Sterling?
Jamie McMurray made his debut in the Nextel Cup Series in this series at this track, subbing for Sterling Marlin.
Wow. Good move. Ryan Vickers in that 25 car on the inside of Stewart.
He just bullied his way through there.
Another country heard from.
Pick up 5 or 6 spots on that lap.
Marty?
Well, he's right. Jamie McMurray holding on to a very loose race car. He said, I'm holding on all that I can, but these guys behind me are extremely fast.
He's right about that.
Go ahead, BP.
He's not satisfied with passing Tony Stewart. He's going to pass them all, or try to.
And I think that's good news for McMurray. I think the 25 car will hang with the 42, Dave.
His crew chief said they'd make one more run to the front, and here comes Vickers.
But no help right now.
And that's surprising. The guys that are running for points are running with each other. I mean, I would want to beat the guy that I'm racing with against
McMurray got very, very loose going in the corner, and the 17 drives on the inside.
Matt Kenseth and Jamie McMurray side by side. Newman behind Kenseth.
Oh. Door to door.
No help.
4 to go, and yes, Jamie, you have no help.
You help the fast guy until 4 to go.
Yeah.
Chevy's won 13 straight right now. It looks like their hopes on a number 14 rest with a 20. 4 to go. 2 cars in front. Let's see if he can make that move again like he did about 3 laps ago going into 3.
This car's been so good all day. Overcame an overheating problem early in the race.
Oh, we got somebody spinning.
Ken Schrader is around.
Left rear.
Caution is out.
Left rear tire went flat.
And you know what that means, don't you?
Green, white, checkered.
Exactly right.
Boy, that's not what you want here.
Right rear tire blew.
Ken Schrader, right rear tire blew.
I think he meant left rear.
He knew one of those rear tires blew.
One of the rear tires were. Definitely gave him trouble.
So the Red Baron, a little wrinkled up. Watch the right side of your screen on this replay.
There he is, the 49 car, and when those tires go flat, you just instantly lose control. And there's the wall.
20 cars on the lead lap. Here, can anything help you if you stop?
No. No, you have to stay out.
All right, under caution here at Talladega. A wild finish to a wild day coming up on NBC. Finish this one next Sunday. We're in Kansas. For the Banquet 400, coverage begins on NBC at 1:30 Eastern Time with the Bank of America countdown to green. Under caution after Ken Schrader blew a tire and wrecked. Down to pit road, and Marty Snyder with Robbie Reiser.
Well, Matt Kenseth is on the radio politicking as best he can. He says he's a sitting duck. Do you agree with that, Robbie?
Well, at the restrictor plate, it's awful tough to hold them back. You got to really watch it. They don't get a run on you. And I'd rather be in a different position, but this is where we're at. So it's up to Matt to bring her home.
They are concerned that the people behind them on the restart will lay back and get an unfair run. They've asked NASCAR to police that a little better. Dave?
Those words, bring it home, came to the 12 crew by way of their car owner just moments ago. I know that's your plan. Can you bring it home first?
We'll see. I mean, we got a shot at it, but there's about 10 guys behind us that also have a shot at it, and the guy in front of us. So he'll do the best he can, and hopefully we won't get wrecked here, and we'll see what happens.
Matt, you're behind the 17 right now. I mean, is it just your best hope to stick right there? He's been running the low line pretty well.
Yeah, he's been real good all day. I mean, definitely we're going to try and win the thing, but, you know, we'll just have to see what happens here. It's going to be probably a green-white checker, so we'll see.
All right, they have fuel to go the distance and a driver who definitely wants to win this thing. Matt?
And Zippy talking to Smoke back and forth on the radio. Your driver sounds very energetic. Are you going to have the 88 DJ work with you?
You know, Smoke is always energetic. That's what we love about him. He hates losing as much as the rest of these guys here. We got a good car. So we'll see if we can get this Home Depot Chevrolet back up there. I don't think it's over yet.
Now, they have had some conversations back and forth, some deal-making. Dale Jarrett says he will go with the 20 if the 20 makes a move. We'll have to wait and see.
Field getting the one to go. It'll be a green-white checkered finish. In 2 weeks, Notre Dame football returns to NBC, and this will be a dandy. One of the best matchups in college football, Southern Cal and the Fighting Irish. USC came from behind to beat Arizona State yesterday, and the Irish took care of Purdue. It's USC and Notre Dame, Saturday, October 15th, beginning at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on NBC. Charlie Weiss getting it done up there for the Irish. Pete Carroll and those guys at USC.
Tough. Both those teams looked awfully good yesterday. All right. Next time by, green flag.
So if you're Matt Kenseth, how are you going to keep him from ganging up on you here?
Block. Start blocking, buddy, because there's nothing you can do. I mean, you know, one thing you want to make sure is on the restart, you're looking in your mirror, and you're not letting Ryan Newman lay back like that. If you see a guy laying back, you got to slow down, because you don't want a gap like that on the restart, or they will smoke you coming down after the first lap. So that's the biggest thing you got to do on the lead right now is don't let them have a big gap behind you.
There'll be one attempt at a green-white checkered finish. If the caution comes out, the race is over. And the drivers will be scored by their position on the track.
And on this restart, you'll see all the cars up against the outside retaining wall, so a car does not get position on them on the outside.
You see Jarrett playing back a little bit on the 20 car.
Pace car to pit road. NASCAR warning these drivers to close it up on the restart. Remember, the start-finish line is after the pit road exit, very close to turn one, instead of in the trial.
All right.
Here we go.
Now is when they start fanning out.
Kenseth got down low. Stewart, Dale Jarrett on the inside line. Newman, McMurray, Carl Edwards.
See, now Newman's got a good run if he can make a move on the 17, but the 17 will block him.
How long can you hold your breath?
And Matt did exactly what he needed to do. He did a good job on that restart. A good restart, and he anticipated the pass coming off of turn two.
And he wants to see him bunch up behind him. That 2x2 will slow those guys down.
Now the 17 just got to worry about keeping that 12 car behind him.
Well, like I said, you start blocking when there's just one guy trying to pass. It's just tougher to do when you've got three or four.
Tony Stewart up next to Newman.
And he's got to run, too, now.
Boy, does he ever got to run.
Last lap.
Oh, man. Here comes Tony Stewart. He's got the lead in turn one. And Dale Jarrett on the outside.
Unit 20, just the two of you. Neck to neck, come on.
Now it just depends on who goes with who.
And how strong that 88 is, we're finally going to find out. Oh, crash! Kyle Petty. Hard crash. We stay green. Now the caution is out. Race is over. There are 19 scoring loops around this track.
The 88 might have been in front.
NASCAR will use their scoring loops and television replays to determine the position of the cars on the track. You do not race back to the yellow in NASCAR. And it was a wreck Dale Jarrett was involved in that brought on that rule.
Yeah, baby, we're back on the map.
This is crew chief Todd Parrott.
And boy, Dale ran, I talked about, you saw him drop to the back most of the race. That's just a veteran move. Smart racing.
A lot of waving going on there.
Sure is.
Most of it appears friendly.
And we're acting like he won. Have we heard from NASCAR, in fact, that he won or not?
It says right here, awaiting final results.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Dale Jarrett is the race winner. This is teammate Elliott Sadler. NASCAR has confirmed that Dale Jarrett is the race winner. They are checking the rest of the positions. Dave Burns.
Official from NASCAR, you win Talladega.
Whew, great. Dale Jarrett's back, and it's the first time that a Ford's been in victory lane here at Talladega since 1998, and that was the last time me and him did it.
What did you think of that last lap? I mean, he wasn't exactly in the lead when that started.
No, you know, he got a great start. Them guys behind him got a little better start, and you know, our deal was to stay with Tony. He was going to do whatever he did, and that, you know, the 99 and them guys, I guess, came give him a big push, got him to the outside, and it's all history, man. UPS Ford was great today. The guys in the pits and Dale Jarrett did an awesome job.
And a good reunion for you two again.
Yeah, I've been saying he's not done. He deserves what the Mark Martin and Rusty Wallace are getting, and he got it today. Dale Jarrett's back, baby. UPS Ford.
Todd Parrott is back with him. Remember, that just happened a few weeks ago when they got back together. Todd Parrott again on the box for Dale Jarrett.
I don't know who they're cheering for right now, the 45 or the...
I think Kyle's trying to cross the start-finish line, don't you think?
Yeah, I believe he is.
He wants to finish.
He's going to do it.
There it is. All right.
You go this far, you don't want to be one lap short.
And I think Dale Jarrett stopped to see what Kyle was doing. First win for Jarrett since Rockingham in February of 2003. Dale Jarrett out of his car. He's not going to climb the fence, is he?
Surely. Oh, come on, DJ. No.
He just wants a flag.
Dale Jarrett will turn 49 years old on November 26th. He's the 14th different winner this season. He has always been a very popular driver with the fans. Of course, his dad, Ned, won 2 championships. Dale, a former series champion. This win means a lot to him and to that team. And Benny, a lot to the engine builders.
Exactly. My hat's off to those guys because they come up with something that was a little bit better, and it ran for 500 miles.
Dave.
Another guy who's out of breath from celebrating, Robert Yates. Welcome back to Victory Lane.
Thank you. I didn't think it made these anymore. How about that? We needed that. Woo. Yeah.
Amidst all the changes you're making and everything, are you surprised at the early success here for these guys?
Well, Todd told me Sunday morning, New Hampshire, you put me back on 88, I'll run a race for this year's over. 17 years in a row, my son just reminded me that we won every year, and he's been on my case hard about got to get this thing back in victory lane. So, woo. But Dale Jarrett, UPS, they certainly deserve it. We're right close to home of UPS, so it could be a sweeter deal.
happy car owner Robert Yates. Matt?
Smiles over about a 20 car. Unbelievable moves on the racetrack. But, Tony, this team fought a lot today, and it started with the overheating issue.
Yeah, we were up to 275 at one point in the race, so just had to kind of regroup and, take our lumps there and go to the back. And, all the wrecks caught up with them, and, we got to where we could start finally, got the temperature down to where I could start racing again, got working our way up through there, and had a good finish. It was got a really good push from DJ. And if we couldn't win, I was glad to see him win it for sure. But we did win what we needed to do. We needed to get out of the 17 and the 12.
Good points day for the 20 team. Marty? Ryan, walk me through those last final few intense laps today.
Well, we had a good car. First of all, I got to thank everybody from Penske Racing. All-Tell Dodge was fast. The guys in the fab shop, the body shop, engine shop especially, have done a great job. And give me an opportunity to put on a show a couple times in the trial that I didn't want to put on. But good effort. You never knew what was going to happen. I know some guys were talking about teaming up behind us, but luckily the 42 came up and gave us a little push. We fell back to 5th and got back to 3rd by the time we went into turn 3. So a good top 5 for us, that's for sure what we needed.
Midway through the race, there was some contact with the 41 car. Tell me about what happened there.
I pushed the 41 up to the tri-oval and a little bit in the tri-oval, and I'm not sure if me pushing him got him loose and started him loose, if I actually hit him and spun him out. But I know the 25 blocked him way up and got him up into some of the loose stuff, which we hadn't been in most all day. And just kind of a victim of restrictor plate race, and I feel sorry for Casey and Riggs and all those guys that were involved. Obviously, didn't mean to crash, and I've been on the receiving end as much as I've been on the giving end, it seems. But like I said, I don't know if I was to blame or not, and I'm sorry if I was.
How about the start to the chase for Ryan Newman? A 1st, a 5th, and a 3rd. Matt?
Carl Edwards, how would you describe that race?
That was exciting.
Why?
Well, there was points where, I was just cruising along. We're all on the line, and everything was, getting a little boring. But in the back of my mind, I knew it's like this is going to get huge at the end of this race, and it did. Man, I wish we could have finished that race. Wish we could have came to the start-finish line. I still had a blast, and I'm so proud for Dale Jarrett to win a Ford UAW 500, and it's an awesome points day for us. And really thankful Ryan Newman didn't crash the whole field when I punted him there. So this is a great day.
Unofficially 5th in the standings. Dave?
Matt Kenseth's just being told by NASCAR officials down here that he finished 3rd. Matt, I know, checking his roof flap there, I know that's not where you want to end up after leading late in this race.
No, I mean, I was, leading with 2. You always want to win, but, we did everything we could do there. Just, it feel bad he couldn't pull it off, but we weren't very strong on restarts. I don't know if we got to look at our transmission ratios or what, but I couldn't really get rolling. I'd always lose some time on restarts, so I just feel bad we got past, but I couldn't do anything else about it. I mean, I blocked as much as I could without wrecking myself and everybody else, and just be happy to come home 3rd.
Matt didn't have the right help at the right time, but ran a great race there at the end. Let's go to Alan Bestwick, who's in victory lane with a happy Yates bunch.
Well, Dale Jarrett has just driven his car in here and will now climb out to what I'm sure will be a large shower. A large shower, but one that he is more than willing to take. Congratulations from Todd Parrott, longtime crew chief, now reunited. And Robert Yates, the team owner, with a congratulatory hug as well. Well, DJ, first of all, tell me about that last restart and what turned out to be the winning move.
Yeah. Let me first thank these guys here, Doug Yates and his people, and Robert Yates, Todd Parrott, and everybody at the fab shop. What a great race car. Next, got to thank the 380,000 UPS employees for sticking with us here. It's been a long dry spell, and people at Coca-Cola, City Financial, Ford Motor Company, Outback Steakhouse, we appreciate everybody's support. But last pass, like I told Todd, it got jammed up on the restart there. I actually thought I was in trouble. When Tony went to the outside here down the front stretch to get in the white flag, I was going with him. Then he dove around to open up a lane for me. And then I got a push from Matt Kenseth back there, and I really appreciate that.
You were a long way back for a large part of this day. Were you concerned when the lap started winding out that you were too far back?
No, just kind of taking it easy. We had a good race car, and everybody continued to run into each other and wreck. So just thought we'd hang out and wait for it to come to us. So great day. Kelly and the kids, hate you're not here to celebrate this with me, but I'll be home in a little while and we'll do some celebrating.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It has been a long time, but Dale Jarrett is back in victory lane. Matt?
We've caught up with Rusty Wallace back in the garage. You had a very solid run going, Rusty. Then you were caught up in that one wreck, and you just went south from there.
I had a great run going. We got from dead last up to 8th or 7th real quick. I think up to 5th at one time. Everything's looking great, and I'm coming down the front straightaway, and all I saw was a 41 coming off the wall, going right across me, and just wiped me right out. So I don't know what two characters got into it at the start-finish line, but it ruined our day. But, you know, the good part is that we did finish in the 20s, and we gained some points. At least I'm glad we didn't finish 40th or something like that. I mean, there's nothing good that came out of today. The only good thing is I don't have to come back this joint again. I've had nothing but bad problems here. Rusty, now to Marty.
Well, Matt, Kurt Busch had an incredible recovery. Did you think that you could get back to 8th after you hit the wall over here with a cut tire, Kurt?
Our car was damaged pretty bad. The tow out was knocked out about 1.5 inches, and luckily we got that caution, and, you know, there's something against us. We just have to keep pulling through. I mean, to get a flat tire all on our own and wreck and still come back to finish 8th, great day for our Sharpie Ford.
And terrific recovery for these guys to come back and finish 8th.
Thanks, Marty. Dale Jarrett is the 5th oldest driver to win a race, 48 years, 10 months, and 6 days old. Harry Gant, Bobby Allison, Morgan Shepherd, and Dale Earnhardt Sr. won races at a later age than Jarrett. He's 49 next month. Congratulations to him and to Robert Yates, who has done a remarkable job trying to rebuild that team in recent weeks, and said told me last week he wanted to see results by Charlotte. And he saw them here. Now, NASCAR is still looking at scoring loops and video. So here are the results unofficial. These are the top 10 finishers, all unofficial until after NASCAR's total review. Now the tentative points.
Very unofficial.
Tony Stewart.
Ryan Newman would be 4 points back. Rusty now 76.
But like we said, this is unofficial. So this may change in tomorrow's papers.
That's right. That might change in the next 5 minutes, too. Don't forget, NASCAR returns next weekend to NBC. Saturday at 2 Eastern, it's NASCAR Busch Series Racing from Kansas, presented by Energizer. And Sunday, the chase for the Nextel Cup continues with the Banquet 400 at 1:30 Eastern. Coverage begins with the Bank of America countdown to green. Coming up next, except on the West Coast, it's your local news. Then starting at 7/6 Central, all new episodes of Dateline NBC, West Wing Law & Order, Criminal Intent, and Crossing Jordan. Dale Jarrett wins. We'll see you next week from Kansas City.
Come on around, come on. We're upside down, guys.
Couldn't do nothing going that fast. No sense in racing like that early.
You know, it's in our hands, in the driver's hands.
When it comes time to be up front, that's when we're going to be there, and that's at the end.